What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Blacklisted Gaming Podcast. I know it's been a while, and I greatly apologize for that. School has been kind of kicking my ass in the last 2 semesters, but we're back at it. I want to give an update on one of the topics that we discussed. One of the topics that we discussed was Raven voting to unionize, which would make it the first gaming union within Activision. So while we were talking about that topic, the vote hadn't passed yet, and we were trying to find the results. So I just wanted to give an update on that before you get that far, that I'm happy to say that Raven did vote in favor to unionize, making them officially the first gaming union within Activision. So when you get to that point, you're going to be like, well, that already happened. Yep, and it did. So I just want to give you guys a little update on that and enjoy the rest of the episode. I'll make you come. Oh. I'm really glad what I was getting at before when I was saying, like, I hope you didn't forget your duty phone in your car, because I can just imagine some like fucking like brand new seaman. This is weird saying that, but this young cherry boot person of a unit would be like in his barracks room, like, I think about hurting myself, and then they try to call you, and like you're the last fucking line of defense, and here you are recording with me, and your phone's in the car just blowing up, and this person's like, they don't care either, and then they just go do what that one dude did in my last unit and try cutting his own throat with a razor.
We had like 3 kids so far of the weekend that have been like.
I thought you were gonna say you had 3 kids over the weekend just killed themselves.
No. There hasn't been.
Just say like, bro,
there hasn't been like a suicide at boot camp for like more than 12 years or something like that. It's been a long time.
Did you hear about all those suicides on that aircraft carrier?
Yeah. Yeah. There was like 3.
The USS George Washington? No, there was like 3 in the week.
Oh.
There was like a total of, I think they said it was like 8 deaths just this past year.
Well,
3 or 4 of which were I think they said, I want to say, let me look. I want to actually look this up real quick because I know that there was like a good portion of them that were suicides, and they were all within like a week.
Yeah, there was a lot of them.
What were you saying?
Yeah, and that's why I wonder what's going to go on with the whole McPon situation.
The what?
Did you not hear about that part?
No.
Like the McPon went and visited, and these people were like living in construction zones, and like not good housing, not good environment. And he essentially told them to get the fuck over it. Like said, hey, what can we do, to help?
Are you talking about on the ship?
Yeah.
Like things were still under construction and they were still living in it?
To my knowledge. So he went and visited these people, and he asked them, said, hey, what can we do to help? Like, what can, us as leadership try to do? And there was like a second class who, stood up and said, hey, listen, we got some pretty poor living conditions for some of these sailors. And that's really contributing to a lot of people, having issues.
Alicia's back.
Okay. And so because of these issues,
Stand by.
Shut up! So
continue.
So as he asked this, the second class was like, hey, is there anything we can do about some of the living conditions? And he essentially said, you need to lower your standards. Like 4 beats said, you need to lower your standards because the mission won't always allow it. And literally not a single person was happy with that response.
Yeah, it's like lower your standards for your typical living situation, because not all the operational environments will allow you for those kinds of standards. Like, yeah, an operational environment. We are stationed here. We have no choice. This isn't just an operational environment.
So yeah, I mean, it's just been a big issue,
and especially for how long those environments have been that way.
Oh well, it's military wide. We all know that.
Right.
There's fucking condemned goddamn buildings that the military keeps using because they don't want to replace them. Like we everyone knows that. There have been stories about that shit since like the fucking 80s.
Let's actually read this. Okay. Okay, good. We have audio in the article section.
Oh, excellent.
For those that don't know, we actually did record an episode 2 weeks ago.
Woo!
It was a fucking banger, and the audio wasn't recording on the article section, so we had to scrap it. Don't worry. We will go over some of those old topics.
I will let everyone know that it is Brock's fault because I told him we could do a 1920 skit and just have like silent film, make it black and white, the whole shebang.
Sure. On YouTube, that's fine. On Spotify, it's not. So let's look at this. USS George Washington crew members allowed to move off ship after 4 suicides. After a series of deaths and suicides, and this is, by the way, this is May 3rd when this came out. After a series of deaths and suicides among the crew of the USS George Washington, an aircraft carrier dry docked in Virginia for maintenance since 2017. It's not even in an operational environment. It's docked. The operational environment doesn't always call for good living conditions. I'm like, yeah, except we haven't been in an operational environment since 2017. Why do we have to live like this? Just put us off ship and make us report to ship during the duty day. I was Army. I don't know how that works. So the Navy will begin allowing hundreds of sailors to live off ship this week. Oh. But that doesn't help now. Within the last year, 7 sailors assigned to the ships have died. 4 of them were likely suicide. The 7 deaths for the following reasons: 2 health-related deaths, 1 undetermined, 1 confirmed suicide, and 3 apparent suicides that remain under investigation. So potentially we've got 4, possibly like 5 suicides. A Naval Air Force Atlantic official told ABC News in a statement. The 4 deaths were in 2021, and the last 3 concurred within 1 week this April. So 3 dudes off themselves within a week.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was that?
I didn't hear anything.
Okay. Anyway, the vast majority of the roughly 2,700 strong crew already sleep elsewhere, with about 400 living aboard. As early as Monday, 260 sailors will be able to opt out of living on the vessel, according to the Naval Air Force Atlantic official. The option will open up for additional 50 sailors this week thereafter. I want to hear some of the responses to this. The carrier is at the Newport News shipyard undergoing a refueling complex overhaul, which the Navy describes as a multi-year project performed only once during a carrier's 50-year service life that includes refueling the ship's 2 nuclear reactors, as well as significant repairs. Nuclear reactors are very touchy.
No, and they are, and
that explains why it's been there for so long.
Oh yeah, well the process takes a hot minute, and also too, it's if you're gonna hold it that long and work on something that delicate, you might as well just fix the rest of the ship. So I mean, all that stuff makes total sense. Like that's not what is under question here.
The Navy has also acted to boost mental health support for the crew. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. People are killing themselves. Let's boost mental health by telling them to just deal with it, and then they'll kill themselves less. There's the military logic for you. Including the additional clinical psychologist and a licensed clinical social worker, and expedited referrals for mental health appointments, according to the Navy. The 3 apparent suicides are now being looked at by Naval Criminal Investigative Services investigation and 2 local law enforcement investigations, according to an official. The Navy has also announced a broader look into conditions on its carriers under maintenance. Rear Admiral Dunham, Deputy Commander, Naval Air Force Atlantic, was directed to lead a larger team to assess various quality of life considerations of our aircraft carriers currently undergoing maintenance. We're finalizing the composition of his team. However, it will incorporate multidisciplinary subject matter experts from numerous stakeholders who identify the program area identify the program areas that may require increased attention, support, and resources.
Axmans.
Huh?
You didn't even say experts, right?
Whatever. Experts.
Experts.
How many of you sign up to go to a ship in the yards? How many of you thought, man, I can't wait to be in a dry dock and instead ship paint and do all the things that we do to make our ship ready to go to war? He asked the crew. No one wants to do that work, which he's not wrong. No one wants to do that shit. It's shit work. So if you're less happy because you don't feel like you're doing the thing that you came here to do, you're hemorrhaging your technical abilities and whatever rating you're in. It's not optimal. We know that. So he also said, I understand that we still have a problem with the department that has been focusing on it, but the problem is beating suicide like beating cancer. There are many different causes, many different reasons. It seems like the common denominator of that reason is that your ship sucks.
Well, I don't like the way that they said that, though, because that's like saying that you're just going to lose some people, and you should just accept that.
It's a statistic, yeah.
I don't like that, because unfortunately, especially with like suicides, and he's not entirely wrong, but I also know how they're looking at it. They're saying, well, we're going to lose some. And because it's one thing to be like, yes, you're right, statistically, you cannot prevent every individual suicide, even if you are doing everything you can to
prevent it.
To prevent.
I mean, there are other underlying issues that would cause something like this.
No, and I do get that, but unfortunately, it's just right now a lot of it's trying to beat the stigma. I do know that there are some people up top who really do give a shit, and those people obviously aren't like upset when it's criticized. But it really does feel like in the armed forces in general.
Yes,
it's not cared about. There's always someone, and it's not, to a degree it is the system's fault, but to a degree it's also not, because can you really track down like that one sergeant who told you that you're a piece of shit because you went to mental health? No, you can't keep track of every single one and prevent every incident from happening. That's right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time too, though, like, there's always a stigma, and we haven't done a very good job of getting rid of that stigma, because it's not about holding a training in front of everybody. If you need help, go get help, because then there's still that underlying of, well, I know you said that, and even if you truly mean it, in my workspace, is that going to be something that's protected? You know what I mean?
It's also a failure of leadership at the I want to say like the lower command level, because so you have like your unit command, and then you have your much higher command. And I've noticed that a lot of times, like, the people that are really concerned about this are the higher command that's not even tied with the unit.
Mm-hmm.
The unit command, and even at the unit command, like the high ups, like the brigade level for the Army, they can say one thing, but the battalion level, they don't give a fuck. And then and then it just trickles down. So like, if
part
you're,
of it's like, how much do you hear at the very top?
Right.
Like, in their defense, like legitimately, it's
you
like,
don't hear that
how
much.
much do you hear at the top? Because
You only know what you know.
Because like, is your senior chief, really going to hear about like, oh, well, your lower leadership doesn't like you and isn't trying to help promote you and help do things for you? He doesn't know it's for the wrong reason. He just knows that he's not hearing good things about you. So he's like, okay, cool. You have good and you have bad sailors, whatever. He's not hearing it's because of X, Y, and Z. He's just hearing, part of it. So he's like, okay, cool. This isn't one of the sailors that's, really, doing the shit. Okay, cool. It happens. They don't know that it's for the reason, especially if you're super high up, because I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of positions that, and to their defense, I know there's a lot of like really salty people out there who are like, fuck them all. But like, it's like my chief at my very first command, we didn't really get to know him, and it was 100% not his fault, because he was the chief for like 3 different departments in 3 different buildings.
Yeah.
So it's like, he knew who we were, and that was awesome. But it's like, do I really expect him to be able to be around all the time?
No.
And that's 100% was not his fault. Like, I mean, he was actually a really good chief. Like, the dude was awesome. But it's just the idea of like, a lot of them too, like some of them aren't busy. Obviously, like we all do know that there's one chief or one, staff sergeant or, someone out there who has a really cush job and doesn't do anything.
See,
but
going to the Army level with it, like the staff sergeant is actually more deep in what's going on with the soldiers than like the senior chief would be. So like, like it goes all the way up to like the first sergeant level is pretty much where it stops. Like everything at the company level, like you have your team leaders, your squad leaders, which are the squad leaders are E6s.
Yeah.
The platoon sergeants, which are the E7s. They're pretty much tracking what's going on within their platoon. And then you got your first sergeant. Your first sergeant's tracking most of what's happening in the company. But how far up past that does it go? Your battalion sergeant major isn't going to know unless first sergeant tells him. Or it's a big enough issue to where he hears about it. And then past him to the higher level than that, like they definitely don't hear anything.
Oh, of course not. Well, part of it is that that stuff should be handled at a lower level, and that's definitely correct.
Right.
But it's the idea though that and I haven't personally had to come across this, which is nice, but like I know a lot of people out there who either think or who have experienced, oh well, someone's going seeking mental health services. Well, that now is going to hurt their career, or they aren't seeking mental health services because they're trying to further their career.
That's a huge problem.
And sometimes I'll admit, sometimes it is the stigma, and it's not your leadership's fault because you, as the lower enlisted or wherever position you're in, a lot of times it's because you think that they would, not try to back you because of the mental health stigma. Sometimes that does happen, but there are also a lot of places out there who I definitely know, where they would, discourage you trying to do stuff like that, do stuff like mental health services. And what a lot of people don't know is because these people don't work in mental health, just because you go to mental health doesn't mean that there's something like fundamentally wrong with you as a person. And that's something that is really frustrating, because a lot of times there's a lot of people who would benefit immensely for going to things like therapy just to get things like breathing exercises, stress control exercises, sleep hygiene, very simple things that you can change in your life that most people just don't think of, and just get, minor bits of help. It doesn't mean that you need to be heavily medicated just because you go to mental health. That's not what that's not what this is. But people don't understand that, unfortunately, after years and years of not only not taking care of yourself, but also too of you, thinking that everyone's either out to get you or that you have to abandon your mental health to get ahead, in your career. That eventually turns from something that, well, you could have gotten some breathing exercises and you could have, done some simple things to change up the way that you think and to change up the way that you feel to help you get through the day better. That would have, put you in a positive direction, to now you have an anxiety disorder because your entire time that you've been fucking sitting there thinking that everyone's out to get you. The paranoia is building up, and now suddenly this isn't something that, oh well, we'll here we'll give you some exercises, work on it, come back, tell me how you feel. Hey, try journaling this. Hey, try changing your outlook. Try changing the way that you talk to yourself, to where now those things won't work to help you. Now we got to start looking at treatment for an anxiety disorder or depression disorder. And so now, it went from something that we could have handled really easily, at a very small level, that wouldn't,
something more complicated,
that wouldn't have influenced your life very much in terms of like your ability to work, other things like that. And now we got to give a service member a medication that they can't deploy with. You know what I mean? So it's making it very difficult, because especially too things like, people going out and things like deployment, it makes it very difficult, because now, like, a lot of sailors who go on deployment, if you don't trust your chain of command at all, and you feel like they're not looking out for your mental health, and now you're stuck on a boat with them for 6 months to a year, how is that going to do for you?
Not well.
And for a
then
lot,
you have situations where guys are hiding in the fucking boiler room,
or like then you have certain things too, like. Sure, like I have a family and, I have a girlfriend, I have a lot of friends back home, and a lot of people, if I were to go on deployment, who would be waiting for me when I come back, and I have that support system, but not everyone has that. There are legitimately like, and I see it through some of the recruits. Hey, and sometimes it's hard when you talk to a recruit who really wants to stay in, and they're like, hey, listen, I really need this. And you're like, well, what's going on at home? They don't have any family. They don't have any friends. They only have this. They only have this. They only have themselves. There is no one at home. There's not a lot of friends because they've been homeless, or because, because they've had issues trying to communicate with people or do anything like that. And they have nothing. They have no support structure. So now it's like, we've even seen some recruits who have trouble filling out a plane ticket destination because they don't really have like there's an address on file, but they don't really have an address that they can go back to.
Right. So I've seen that too. You see a lot of guys, like when I was in Italy, there's a lot of guys that just stayed in Italy on leaves. Like and I guess that was like the good thing about being overseas, was that like going back home was more inconvenient than staying within Europe. Yeah. So a lot of guys, instead of going home, they would just get together with a bunch of buddies and just travel Europe.
I mean, to be fair, to me that sounds like the smart thing to do.
And it was
because, like, one, you're in Europe. Why not travel a little bit and go see things and go do some fun stuff?
I would even ask them, like, why don't you just go home and see your family? And they're like, because I don't really have any family to go home to.
There's a lot of people who are like that. I mean, we even have like a lot of people who were immigrants. There was a guy who I went to boot camp with who was from the old Soviet bloc. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, and he doesn't have any family. And not to mention he was also like 35. And we were like, hey, why are you doing this? He was really, inspired because he grew up under communism. And it was just like, yeah, I don't really have any family to go home to. I don't have any, anything to do. He's like, this is what I have. And you're just like, oh shit. Like, this guy really doesn't have a whole lot to. And it's also really hard for people like that, some migrants and other things to make a lot of friends because the cultures are different. I mean, could you imagine growing up in like Slovenia or Georgia during the height of the fucking, Soviet Union, and then coming into America and joining the armed forces and trying to become friends with some dude who just got out of his fucking small town? Like,
it's tough. Completely different worlds.
Completely different world. Like, I mean, how are you supposed to make that connection? I'm not saying it's impossible, and it definitely does happen.
Camaraderie can grow. That's the thing.
Definitely.
It can grow, but the thing is, like...
But when you, from a mental health aspect, when you ask that person, hey, do you have a lot of support at home? The answer is either no, because they either have their family or they don't. And a lot of those people, they have the issue of building that camaraderie with people because the perspective is so different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a simple thing. Some people are okay with it, definitely. But, this guy is like, hey, yeah, I really want to fight against, people doing things like what they grew up in, communism, the absolute control that was going on at that time. And then you have some kid who comes in who's not very motivated, who just says, fuck, I'm here for the free college and nothing else. I'm not trying to do more work. And this guy is pissed off now because he's like, I'm really trying to fucking do something here and you're just fucking piddling about.
Right.
And it makes it difficult because now that person is only enveloping negative emotions regarding their workplace.
Negativity, especially in the military, like if one person's negative, it can bring down everybody.
Oh, definitely.
Speaking of like communism shit, fucking you hear Putin's sick?
Oh, well, we knew Putin's been sick for a hot minute. Like, come on.
They think he actually might be dying.
Yeah, no. So they've been thinking. Actually, I said this on one of the previous episodes. I don't know if it was the one that we had to scrap, but like, yeah, we've been speculating for a hot minute, thinking that Putin's going to be dead soon, and not just because like the oligarchs are probably trying to plan to kill him.
No, we think that because like the desperation that he seems to be brandishing through this whole Ukraine thing is.
Oh, did you hear China stabbed Russia in the back?
I mean, I'm not shocked by that,
I'm
but
not
what
shocked.
was it?
It's been the whole thing. They did a cyber attack on Russia.
No way.
Yeah.
They did?
Yeah.
For what? Just to see it? Just to do it?
I mean, so there was no like offense. It wasn't like Russia did something to China and China's like, what the hell? China just straight up cyber attacked Russia. And
that's kind of wild. I mean, Putin isn't really looking good either. I'm looking at some of these photos of him recently. Like this one.
Oh, yeah, no, he's in decline, definitely. Well, you got to think, though, too, like...
He's old.
In his defense, the dude's old as fuck. Like, I mean, he's not young anymore.
But I've always looked... Like, when I've seen him, like, in his speeches, like, he seems pretty youthful for his age, in ways.
Well, that stuff is also really hard to tell, too, for any politician. Because, every time that they get fucking up on stage and start talking about shit, every time they are dolled up. There's tons of makeup, the perfect lighting, the best way, good microphones to make them sound nice and strong and powerful and all that shit. Like, I mean, it's all a ruse. I mean, homeboy is old.
Yeah, he is. He's like 70-something years old.
And he's stressed out as fuck because right now, that there's bounties out on his fucking head.
Yeah.
The entire world, his narrative did come true. Not for the reason he said it did, but his narrative came true. The entire world is against Russia right now, and it has nothing to do with, oh, well, we hate the fucking Russians, let's get rid of them, blah, blah, blah. It's because he made an enemy out of them. He made everyone his enemy, and he can't even fucking steamroll Ukraine. Ukraine's kicking his shit in right now.
They've been withdrawing troops from Ukraine.
Have they?
Yeah.
Because what I've been, what the last updates I've been getting was that Ukraine was doing counterattacks and was taking back shit.
Oh, they've been doing that since the beginning.
Well, no, true, but like it's in a much bigger capacity than what they were before. Because before they were like obviously on the back foot because they're like, whoa, what the fuck, dude. But like they were a lot more defensive postures, obviously around like Kiev and everything like that. And now they are like straight up pushing back everything at this point.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it, because like everything that we've ever known about Russia has been basically, oh, Russia's a fucking force to be reckoned with, and then like they couldn't even take Ukraine back.
Well, I mean, it's the same exact thing that everyone thought back during the wars of yore. You know what I mean? Like
the wars of yore.
Well, I mean, think about it though. I mean, Russia got their shit kicked in by Japan.
Yeah, they got their shit kicked in by the Taliban.
And it's not to say that like Japan wasn't like, you know, at the time a military power. Like that's not what we're saying. But everyone thought like, oh, Russia will just beat the shit out of Japan. Japan will sue for peace and go on. That's not how that worked.
You see the Victory Day parade?
No.
So like Russia every year has the Victory Day. And I think what is exactly is Victory Day? I want to say that
is it related to like World War II?
I think it is. Victory Day, Russia. May 9th, Russians celebrate the end of 1945 of what they call a Great Patriotic War. More than 20 million Soviet citizens died at home and abroad. Victory, yeah, so the end of World War II.
Okay.
And then at the Victory Day parade, because usually that's like a big show of military power, a lot of those military vehicles they show during the parades were not there.
Oh, I bet they weren't. Like,
because they're gone. They did.
Yeah.
And then like some fucking Russian ambassadors were like, people were splat, like, as there was I want to say there was a Russian ambassador.
So is it the one who like spoke out on the news against everything? Because there was I forget who it was, but there was some Russian official. I want to say he used to have something to do with the military back then.
Well,
but
it was this guy. It was the Russian ambassador in Poland. And the Polish people, like during Victory Day, during the celebration, he was there, and they were all there fucking screaming in his face. They splashed red paint all over him. And he was just standing there taking it because he knew there was nothing he could do.
Well, it's like, what are you really going to tell people that, hey, we're not wrong here?
Let me show this real quick.
And could you imagine being in his position?
No.
Like, fuck, dude. Like, what do you say at that point?
He's just like, yep.
Damn.
Yeah. What kind of paint was this? It came right off his face.
No, different guy. Look again. It's still
it is a
totally different guy.
Why is there no audio? I'm very surprised that there's no audio right now.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. You know, now I'm curious why I have no audio.
Maybe it's the video though. I don't know.
I mean, it could be. So let's look real quick.
But yeah, no, there was a Russian official. Yeah, it may have been the video.
It was just the video.
Okay, but yeah, so there was a Russian official though who came out on Russian television and during the Russian news, and it was like their version of 60 Minutes. This dude came up there and essentially said, "Yes, we are alone. The whole world is against us. Don't feed into the propaganda. Stop believing what the Kremlin tells you." Like, dude is putting his life on the fucking line.
Oh
right now.
yeah,
and was like, "Hey, listen, like this is all a farce. The Kremlin has literally launched us into a war. The Ukraine, you know, none of the quote like I'm trying my brain's trying to think of the word here. None of the provocative acts by Ukraine were real. All that shit's a farce. Stop believing the propaganda."
I mean, nobody believed the provocative acts of Ukraine were the accusations that they were Nazis and just trafficking kids. No one really, I mean, some crazy fucking right wingers, which is very strange to me, that like some right wingers were believing into that shit. They said there's more going on here than they're letting us believe. I'm like, no, there's not. There never had. I mean, maybe when the corrupt part of the Ukrainian government was there, maybe, but ever since Zelensky took over, like the corruption from the government was starting to dwindle down, and that was because Zelensky came in to clean the house and like turn it all back around. Because like before Russia was involved, Ukraine was under civil unrest.
Mhm.
Like there was like a civil war going on where the Ukrainian government was fighting its own people in eastern Ukraine,
Mhm.
and then Russia stepped in because they were trying to be the white knight of the whole thing. They were under the guise of being the white knight, but there was actually more nefarious reasons, as we've seen.
Right.
And the corruption was like dwindling down when Zelensky took over. Because like when that whole shit happened, I was over in Europe watching this whole thing because that was the big talk. Like we might end up going to Ukraine. And then when Russia started getting involved, they're like, we're definitely going to Ukraine. So we went to Ukraine because then Russia was fighting inside of Ukraine. So it just things spiraled out of control.
But yeah, no. So that guy got up there and was like, "Hey, listen, stop believing the." Well, because he was really talking to the Russian people. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? He's like trying to let them know, like, "Hey, yes, this is all fake. This is, a ruse for Putin to try to get what he wants, and it's hilariously blowing up in Putin's face." But like this also too, like I don't know, like, and I'm not here to like try to like underestimate like the enemies that we have, but like Russia, ever since the fall of the Soviet Union, we knew the same thing with Russia, same thing with China, same thing with North Korea. They lie their ass off about everything. China, even though it has grown in some power since the olden days, like since like the 90s and shit, the issue is that they lie about everything.
Because they want to control.
Yeah, of course. And of course, well, because
you mean communism?
Well, because it's egotistical. These leaders aren't just like, oh, well, yeah, we're trying to be the best. Like, this is literally leaders who take this shit personally. Why do you think Putin is doing what he's doing right now? It's all ego. I mean, that's all that it's ever been based off of. Look at Stalin. Look at Lenin. They're all egotistical maniacs. Mao Zedong, fucking all of them. But like, they lie their ass off about everything. It's like how when China was like, we don't have any more COVID cases, and then suddenly it's out of control. We don't know what to do about this.
And now we got bird flu and monkeypox.
And that shit, I don't know about all that, but like it's just
fucking stupid.
It's just the idea though. Like, I mean, they've been lying about this shit. The Soviet Union was fine until the day it fell. You know what I mean? Like supposedly, you know what I mean? Like the official records. So it's like, sure, you're fine. It's okay. We all know it's not.
We all know it's not.
Russia and China both have been degrading for fucking decades now. Sure, China's building a lot of stuff and doing a lot of things, but what they're also not telling you is how fucked up it is how bad a lot of it's going, is how many revolutions are trying to start here and there. They don't tell you
starting in Hong Kong.
They don't tell you about any of that shit.
No, they don't.
It's
because
like,
they don't want you to know about it.
It was like back in like 2016. They didn't tell you about that. Like 20 million people marched on Beijing, saying that they want real elections that don't just involve the Communist Party. But they don't tell you about that stuff. They're not putting that out there. That's why a lot of people, like when a lot of people are like anti-America who live in America, I'm like, you do understand that you know about all these problems, because even though we are currently experiencing a lot of corruption and currently experiencing a lot of these problems, and I'm not going to deny that, we're open about it though. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, we have this issue going on right now. Okay. Oh, well, this is going on right now. Oh, okay. Okay. And you're like, oh, this is all awful. Meanwhile, you have, China over there that is actually currently hurting its economy because they try to keep certain businesses open. And I mean, not like, oh, like how like our car manufacturers were like, hey, we need a bailout. No, not like that. I mean, they are literally keeping the lights on in certain places, paycheck to paycheck, because they want to have these Chinese businesses. And these businesses aren't turning any profit. They're actually going,
you're going
into debt, and they're continuously going further and further into debt. Like, China's not all well and dandy over there. They're really not.
No, they're not.
And same thing with Russia. That's why when a lot of people were like, oh, I thought they were supposed to be powerhouses, I was like, as said by who though? As said by them. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, how about this? If you look at a lot of the studies and stories that talk about the might and power of the U.S. military, who are a lot of those studies done by? Not America.
No.
Not, or at least not the American government. But whenever you hear about how strong and powerful the Republic of China is, who's saying that? The Chinese Communist Party. The people who want themselves to look so big and powerful.
Right.
And I don't know, a lot of people also talk about, like, well, how many people does China have? I was like, oh no, they have a lot. But you do understand that if there's a big conflict, there's also a lot of Indians right to the south who also want to kill the Chinese.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of facets here, and they're not the big superpowers that you think that they are. I mean, they're definitely threats, and I won't deny that, but it's not like a lot of people think, because a lot of people only are getting partial pictures here. That's why Russia's getting steamrolled by Ukraine. And I'm not saying Ukraine doesn't know how to fight. It's just the idea, like, everyone thought it was going to be the opposite way around, and right now Russia can't do anything.
No, they can't. So enough about world's problems. Let's talk about the gaming world's problems.
Oh no.
So this was actually we got a bunch to cover, and not a lot of time to cover it.
Okay.
So this is a topic that I didn't even know about until just today.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't see a problem here.
I don't either. So EA and FIFA parted ways. So now EA no longer holds the rights to FIFA.
Like, I'm not gonna lie. I've never really been a fan of, like, the sports games. Like, it's just not been my thing.
Same.
I grew up my entire life playing sports and, like, doing shit and being active. So it's like, if I really want to do stuff like that, I feel the need to want to be physically doing it, not
instead of pretending to be doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So, or like, it was, since sports were part of my life so much, it's like they're part of my physical hobbies. I don't want to then come into, like, playing video games and being like, oh, well, I'm not going to do this in only football or only soccer or only this for, like, all the time. It's like, that's why I like a lot more of the fantasy stuff. So I will admit I'm biased on this, but, like, personally, who cares that there's not an identical FIFA game coming out next year? Like,
right. I know. And EA actually explains more about why it's dropping the FIFA license.
Oh, is there, like, a legitimate reason?
We'll see.
Okay.
We got some Activision news, of course. Some of it is shit we've already talked about because we lost that episode. We're going to talk about it again.
Weekly Activision update.
But there is a couple things in here that are new.
Oh, excellent. Excellent.
Like this one. Activision tells Raven staff that unionizing could affect promotions and benefits coverage.
Well, it's kind of odd because if everyone unionizes, you have to promote somebody.
Well, I mean, most of the thing that people don't realize with unions is that promotions and benefits coverage are through the union not through the company.
Yeah.
So shut up, Activision. California Governor Gavin Newsom accused of interfering in the Activision Blizzard lawsuit.
Excellent. This is one of the ones that we covered previously.
It is. Bobby Kotick is being investigated for insider trading.
Again, another repeat, but yes, because we're not shocked.
We're also not shocked. I mean, some of these things are all still pretty.
I love that picture of him because it just shows
like,
the personality.
Yeah, this guy, it's like, this is the epitome of corporate evil.
Just about. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I could never imagine getting so egotistical that, like, you have to threaten to kill your fucking secretary.
I know.
Like,
and then threaten to kill your girlfriend too, I guess.
Well, like, doing it in a serious manner, because, like, it's one thing to get mad at your coworkers, like, I will fucking end you, Samantha. Like, if you're, like, fucking around, like, that's fine. But, like, dude, the fact that someone's, like, legitimately like, hey, he said he would have me killed, that's a problem.
I know. Speaking of him threatening bitches.
Is it again?
His ex-girlfriend obtained a restraining order against him.
Like a new one?
No, this is the one that we talked about, but we couldn't actually put out. Mind you guys, this is an older, this restraining order happened in 2014, but there was a reason why we're only just now hearing about it.
Right, right.
So let's talk. We're going to talk about some Modern Warfare 2 news. So Modern Warfare 2 is going to have a new DMZ mode, which is a Tarkov-inspired game mode. Now, we all know...
So we couldn't come up with our own ideas.
Well, the thing is, we all know how AAA publishers interpret independent publisher games, like how Battlefield tried to interpret Tarkov with its Hazard Zone, and how it miserably failed.
Yeah.
And now Call of Duty is trying it, and I'm willing to put money that this mode will die nearly as fast as it came out.
So for this Hazard Zone, like, what exactly is it that's copying up Tarkov?
So we'll actually talk more about the details of it when we get to it.
Yeah, we'll get
so basically, it's like extracting with loot and keeping it, and then you could sell it on the marketplace.
Oh, the Hunt Showdown.
Which apparently Hunt Showdown got hacked, but that's not a topic.
I'm really sad about that because that is such a fucking good game.
What is the Hunt Showdown hack anyway?
So, sorry for the distraction.
Yeah, it's your fucking fault.
Ah, fuck you.
Hunt Showdown hacked. Let's see. I'm kind of confused. I don't
Why
really.
was that one loud? Fuck.
What'd you do? Fart?
No, I just inhaled because I was like stretching.
You're like,
Well, it was through my nose, so I was like just kind of like a. Slow...
I actually can't find an article on that.
Oh, okay. Well, let's keep moving.
So Starfield and Redfall have been delayed.
You know, the amount of fucks I give are zero at this point.
Well, Starfield, you know, Bethesda, when they put out games, Starfield is essentially like
Elder Scrolls at this point.
Starfield is basically Elder Scrolls or Fallout, but in like a futuristic space world.
You know, I really do love fucking Bethesda, but my only worry, especially since the buyout happened, is that like I don't know if they're going to keep doing what they do.
I think they are, but they're going to be able to do it better.
See, I don't know that.
Well, we'll see.
I mean,
I think Redfall is like a Skyrim thing.
Really?
So Square Enix, this was actually something that happened about almost a week and a half ago. Square Enix has been selling off its studios and IPs.
Well, so it says it's building new studios.
It claims it's building new studios, but the thing is, what are its studios focused around? And there's a lot of talk that's focused around NFTs and blockchains.
That's really sad.
It's also not surprising.
It's not surprising. Well, actually, at this point, honestly, I'm going to say at this point, it would be a little surprising because with how flopped a lot of NFTs have happened, it's just surprising that like people are still like, well, we're going to make money off this. I'm like, no, this is like if someone made Bitcoin, but also put cancer into it. And, you know, it really is killing a lot.
Plus, it's also extremely vulnerable to hacking, and hackers have gained almost $1 billion worth of fucking NFTs.
It's just so odd that like, hey, listen, we have this thing here that is not doing what it said it would do, is like you said, vulnerable to hacks, and it's not helping. Like there's been a lot of fucking pushback and people who are just done with this NFT bullshit. So it's like, I don't understand why there's a lot of people who are like, oh, we're still going to be trying to, you know, put our business around these NFTs. It's like, no, look what happened to Ubisoft. Like, that's just one example. Like, no one wants anything to do with these things. They don't help us, and they're not helping you anymore to make money. So it's like, why fucking focus on this?
Right. This is another fun story. So for the tragic shooting that happened in Buffalo, for those that don't know, this psychopath went to Discord and 4chan for his manifesto to like post and plan it all. He planned it all on Discord independently. There was nobody else involved with this. And then he streamed the shooting on Twitch.
Jeez.
Yeah. And now New York's Attorney General is investigating Twitch, Discord, and 4chan over it. And they're also blaming video games for the shooting. Because you know what the media and the government likes to do? They like to blame things that
aren't them.
They like to blame anything else besides the true problem. They'll blame guns and they'll blame video games. Like
those are easy things.
They're easy. They're easy scapegoats.
Yeah, exactly. Bullshit.
This is one that we actually did talk about last time, but we actually didn't get a chance to really discuss it and put it out. But there's a Twitch streamer that's facing what's called romance fraud lawsuit. This
one was such horse shit.
Yeah, I know. And basically what it was, hang on.
Anyway, so this one was such bullshit. So we had this streamer here.
It's allergy season, guys.
So we had this streamer here who was doing her streams, and she had like a really high donor who like would constantly give her like, you know, abnormally high tips. And it kind of at first appeared like he was just
being generous.
People, right. And then he starts like trying to control her life. Like
he like wanted to be with her, and then she's married with kids.
Yeah, exactly.
And then said like, no, I don't want that. So then he put in a claim with PayPal to get his money back, and is now suing her for what's called romance fraud, because he's claiming that she led him on to believe that she was romantically interested in him, and he was donating money to her, and then she only did it for the money, but that actually isn't true, and she's actually going through through hell because of this thing. But yeah, super fun. Psychos be psychos. So let's talk about our first thing. So EA explains more about why it's dropping the FIFA license. Can you see this?
Yes.
So update. During today's earnings call, EA CEO Andrew Wilson offered a bit more context on why the publisher made the decision to part ways with the FIFA license. emphasizing the ability of EA to work with even more partners and create more focused football experiences for specific international markets. We think about the future of football right now. We really made this decision on the basis of being able to deliver experiences that our players wanted. Okay. He said, they told us they wanted more modalities of play. They told us they wanted to see more commercial partners in the game and that are representative and authentic to the broad global world of football. They're telling us they want us to move beyond just the core experience and really build out this digital football experience. And they're telling us they want us to move really, really fast.
You know, honestly, I do kind of see that because...
Well, here's the thing. All the bullshit that's been tied in with fucking EA when it comes to like the path that the sports games have taken have been because of EA.
No, definitely. I agree. But also, too, like, again, maybe this is me 100% being biased. I'm not sticking up for EA at all here. But, like, I mean, I don't know anybody, and I mean anybody, who legitimately is like, yeah, you know, I want to go play a video game. It's one thing if you want to play something that's relaxing or something that, you know, is a little bit more exciting, horror, whatever you want, right? I don't know anyone who's like, yeah, I'm going to go play soccer over and over and over again.
Yeah, it doesn't seem fun. I mean, it's just because it doesn't seem fun for us.
And exactly, that's why I'm kind of like disclaimer of like, hey, listen, actually, this isn't my thing. But like, it also just seems kind of odd too. I do understand that, like, yes, if you're going to make a soccer game, you should be able to spice it up and do other things like with it. And I do like understand and agree with that. But like you said, I don't know how well this is going to go for both EA or FIFA because I mean, to be honest, like, who wants to play the same game over and over and over again without the physical aspect of it, without anything like that?
You mean Call of Duty?
Well, Call of Duty needs to die too. I've stuck by that. Like, I really want the Call of Duty series to fucking end. I want them, if you're going to do anything else with it, if anyone ever listens to me in their entire life, make one last Call of Duty game. Actually try. Actually make new maps, new mechanics, something. I shouldn't even be able to recognize it as a modern Call of Duty game.
Honestly, Modern Warfare kind of seemed like that at first. I remember playing the gunfight mode when they released the beta for it. Playing the gunfight mode, I was like, wow, this really does feel different. Because like the guns felt like they hit, like they felt like fucking firearms, and the mechanics just felt different from every Call of Duty I played. But then I noticed as the game went on, it evolved back into Call of Duty. It devolved, I should say.
Well, the problem is that the Call of Duty gameplay, it's shallow. There's nothing to it. There's no stimulating part about it. You get in there, you literally aim your gun at somebody with no recoil. You just dump a mag, and whoever dumps their mag...
that was the thing.
And whoever dumps their mag first or hits the head the most times in the right amount of time wins. And it's a really boring setup. There's like... Was there even campaigns with this last one?
With Modern Warfare?
No, not Modern Warfare.
For Vanguard, yes.
There?
For Cold War, yes. So the only one that didn't have a campaign was Black Ops 4.
Because at this
that one was only multiplayer and battle royale.
Jesus.
Yeah, everyone was like, "What the fuck?" and they charged full price for it.
Well, the problem is that the campaigns so far, and I haven't played like Vanguard or Cold War, so I won't say anything on that. But it's just like, at least the last campaigns that I played, they all sucked.
It's funny because I even said that, like, when I found out about Cold War, I brought up, you know, we'll talk about Call of Duty when we actually get to the Call of Duty topic. Let's keep on with this.
Fine. Point is, soccer's boring as fuck, guys. Don't play it.
Right.
Don't trust EA though, because I definitely know that there was some fuckery on their side.
There's some fuckery afoot.
There is.
So later on the call, he added, the more important thing to understand, though, is that you travel around the world and you meet the players who are really deeply engaged with our game. For a player in the UK, the most important thing to them is the Premier League. For a player in Germany, the most important thing to them is Bundesliga.
Ah.
In Spain, it's La Liga, and so on and so forth. You go around the world, what we're focusing right now is building very unique experiences for each of those fans in each of those markets. And what you've seen today is many of our partners come out in support of our ability to do this for our fans. So basically what they're saying is FIFA's restricting, and they want to do more, which I kind of don't believe. After almost 30, so the original story is after almost 30 years, EA Sports and FIFA are parting ways, and EA will chart a new future under the name EA Sports FC, which is football club. Aside from the name change, the lack of a licensing deal means that there could be more changes to the tried and true FIFA formula, which it really needs because every game's been the same. In an interview with the BBC, EA Sports Vice President David Jackson said the deal with FIFA wasn't just for the name, but included a set of licensing restrictions that EA no longer has to abide by. This could free the company to explore more interactive and fan-focused gameplay content. So basically what they're doing is they just don't have the rights to certain things, and they're saying that with them parting ways with FIFA, they can do more.
That may be true. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember this one. We actually did discuss this, was that the money issue was probably going to be a big factor of whether or not EA had a future with FIFA, because FIFA was asking for a fucking lot. So the deal with FIFA is set to end partially because of money. It is previously reported that FIFA upped the price for its license to over $1 billion per 4-year World Cup cycle, and Jackson admits money was a factor to the decision to rename the franchise, though isn't the full reason behind the split.
I mean, I legitimately could understand that, though, because that is a fuck ton of money.
FIFA was like, give us more and do the same thing. So money plays a critical role in most negotiations, but the reason we are doing this is to create the very best experiences we can for both players and partners. So EA will lose the rights to FIFA name, and the company have signed up 19,000 athletes, 700 teams, 100 stadiums, and over 30 leagues, including the Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga, and UEFA. So players can still expect real team names of players.
That's kind of cool, though.
There will be no World Cup event every 4 years, but the main leagues and players will remain. So they can keep the names and the teams, but they just can't have the World Cup because FIFA owns that.
I really hope that they rename the World Cup something like the Planet Chalice Championships.
The Planet Chalice.
That would be amazing.
It's actually kind of it's funny because honestly, what it seems like they were paying for when it comes to FIFA was just the FIFA name and the World Cup rights for the game.
Yeah, that's what.
So they wanted $1 billion for
those
two things. Which is actually very unreasonable.
No, and once again, I really don't want to say that EA was kind of in the right, but man, asking $1 billion just for the name and to have restrictions on what you could put in the game like that, regarding soccer, that sucks. Like, I will admit that is a bad deal.
Where FIFA is like, you only will do FIFA events, you can't do all the other independent events.
Right. So that's pretty cool. Once again, I'm praying that there is a fucking Planet Chalice.
The Planet Chalice Championship.
Exactly. I just hope that they rename it something, even change it up, like, oh, it's every 2 years or every 3 years, so that way, like, there's like, quote, no mix up.
Or they do it like they do the Super Bowl every year.
It could be. And like, man, I would love for that to be what they do for like a championship type deal. That'd be fantastic.
All right, so we got a few topics. Let's talk about some Smacktivision shit.
Woo!
Woo! All right, so Activision tells Raven staff that unionizing could affect promotions and benefits coverage. Raven Software's unionization vote is underway, with management making the last-ditch effort to convince employees to vote no. Voting is underway at Raven Software. Almost 30 QA testers at Raven Madison, Wisconsin office, because that's in Madison, have been mailed ballots that will determine whether unionization efforts succeed in creating the second official games union in North America. However, parent company Activision Blizzard, CUX, is making one of the last-ditch efforts to prevent a union from forming. According to Raven staff speaking anonymously with the Washington Post, management has sent emails to staffers with graphics saying, please vote no to the union vote. Raven management also held a mandatory town hall meeting on April 26, which pushed employees to vote no and even suggested that unionizing might impede game development and affect promotions and benefits. Impede game development how? You mean to say that like your workers will be treated better, so games might actually be better, but we don't want better. We want the same shit every year because that's who we are.
Considering how bad Activision Blizzard's had it so far with how much they've been fucking up and like making it hard for people to make games, how could it get any slower?
Honestly, why does Activision Blizzard think that this is a smart move? Like with all the bullshit they've been going through, did they think it was a good idea to say, we don't want your fucking union, it's going to make things worse? For who? For you?
Yeah.
Or for us?
100%, yes.
You mean to tell me that your games will be better, but you won't be profiting off of it? But the thing is, you would be profiting off of it.
Well, the thing is, here's the thing, though, is that a lot of these companies are so like single track minded when it comes to this. They're only worried about the immediate coming in profits. So if you got a bunch of you dumb motherfuckers out there who continue to buy Call of Duty over and over and over again, not all of you.
Call of Duty is the McDonald's of gaming.
But
It's comfort food. And the only reason why you keep going back to it is because you don't want to cook.
But point is those is that because people keep buying those things, they're still profitable. So now you're cutting down on a bunch of other costs of treating your people right, doing the right, correct, and actual good things. What you? I forgot. You never played Dark Souls, you loser.
It's
Anyway,
just a weird armor set. I'm sorry.
no, I fucking love the onion armor set. You shut your fucking whore mouth.
Go on though.
Anyway, so it's because they're still able to drive in just as much of a profit because the people are still going to buy your shit anyway, no matter how shitty it gets. And you get to cut corners everywhere else. You make more profits.
I honestly think a lot of why Activision Blizzard doesn't want them to unionize is because they want total control. And if a union gets involved, they no longer have control of those employees. The union does. They have to deal with the union. And whatever this, and they have to vote, and then they have to just deal with that fucking union. And they don't want to do that. They want to be able to tell these people what to do, and then they have no choice but to do it. And then they can get rid of them however they want. They could pay them however they want. They could do this, and they have control of it all. With a union, they lose all of that.
Which is so weird. That poor legal team is probably like, please just get the fucking union.
I know. And like I said before, Call of Duty, with the way that Activision's been doing it, is the McDonald's of gaming.
Yeah, definitely.
It's comfort food because it's familiar. You know what you're going to get each time. You know, you can only fuck up so much, and if you hate it, you go back again and hope it's better the next time around because maybe the person that was cooking that food that night sucked. Whereas games like fucking Elden Ring and all that shit are gourmet meals.
Oh my god, Elden Ring has put so many other developers off.
Well, Elden Ring made Vanguard like it outsold Vanguard.
Yeah.
So and like what I say with this analogy is that like games like Elden Ring and shit are gourmet meals. They're not for everybody, but they are good for what they are.
But literally no one who enjoys playing video games can sit there and be like, that's a bad game. Sure, I may not like it, right? Like, you know, it may not be your thing, but you're not like, man, they just cranked out another shitty game. Okay,
exactly.
Whatever. Right.
See, me as a person who I'm not into the Souls games. And like, yes, I've never played Elden Ring, but I would never say Elden Ring's a bad game because if you really dig down into what makes a game good, Elden Ring is fantastic.
Oh yeah. However, though, From Software, please balance the bleed builds.
I mean, that's something you would know.
Yeah, but please patch.
but games like that, sure, they're not for everybody. But that doesn't make it bad.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic games.
Like what? Like I want to know what people think. Like when people are saying that games like that are bad. Why? Why do you think it's bad?
I haven't really heard a whole lot of that, though. A lot of people a lot of people do have criticisms for them. Some people don't like the storytelling, like the way that the story is being told, which is fine. Again, that's subjective. I totally understand. Some people don't like the combat or mechanics, but no one, at least not no one that I've heard, I know there's someone out there, but like no one has been like, oh, but this is bad though. Well, right, like this game looks like someone didn't take time to try to make it good.
Yeah,
they're just, hey, this isn't my thing, right? And that's fine. That's okay.
The design of the game is fantastic. Like the boss designs, the world design, the level, all of it. Like just like it's all.
Tell me how, because like, and this is the really shitty part when it comes to like other games. From Software showed that you can make some minor boss designs and even some repeats that are okay. It's like there was one boss, I'm not going to get into too many spoilers, so don't worry about it, but there's one boss that is a carbon copy of another boss, but it's a ruse, so it's like a quote ghost, but it's not like colored, it's not made super obvious,
so it's the same boss but different.
Yeah, but it's kind of a joke boss, because even though the boss is difficult and it is a challenge and whatever, there's two phases, and then it's really funny because you find out that it's a so minor spoilers for this one boss, but if you're playing Elden Ring for the first time, you're not going to remember this shit by the time you get there. It takes a while, but it's towards the end of the game. It's not a main story boss, so whatever. But like, it's funny because it's this snail that is summoning the ghosts of these two bosses, because it's like a two phase, like you kill one, then the second phase is the other. And then you've come to find out it's this fucking snail that's fucking crawling around the back that only appears after you kill the first two, and he's super easy to kill. It's like, that's creative as fuck, because you have other enemies in the game like that, to where like they'll summon like ghosts of like wolves or of like a knight or something, And if you kill the snail, that thing just dies. You don't even have to fight it, right? And it's cool that they made a boss out of that. But they even got to like save some time and repeat an asset in a way that makes sense, though. You know, in a way that's
so where it's like we're not using the same boss,
right?
We're using the same boss, but it's actually something else that's making you fight that boss again.
Right. It's not just like we just put another one here. It's fine. Whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Or like
it was a creative way to reuse that asset.
Exactly. Or like if they do reuse some assets, there's like a couple of like the Godskin, like Noble or other assets like that. Like they're reused like once or twice, like not even like 3 times. You know what I mean? Or if they are reused, it's like, oh, well, you fought like a certain variant of this boss, right? Well, then you fought a different variant of this boss. So they're very different. And then later in the game, oh, now you fight both of them at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's a mix up. Like it's not just, oh, here's another one. And also too, they're not main characters. Like it is, like the thing's title is literally Godskin Noble. So like, oh, okay, so this isn't his title. This isn't like his name. You know what I mean? This is literally just a noble of this cult, right? So if you see another one, you're like, okay, it would make sense that there's more than one noble of this type of clan or whatever, right? Okay, cool, not a problem. It's not like in Dark Souls 1 where they had time constraints and they made the Asylum Demon, you know, gave it a big name and then said, okay, we're going to repeat him 3 times. You know what I mean? Like that was more time constraint with them. You know, Dark Souls 1 was still a fantastic game, but like they just repeated some assets because they kind of were, you know, were running out of time and money. Okay, cool. But like they did it very well. And a lot of people are pissed off. Like a lot of people are pissed off at things like that because they showed a lot of people again that yes, you can make the game gorgeous. You can write an excellent story for it and you can make the gameplay good, have good mechanics, and you can make minor bosses and stuff like that to fill up your world. Don't leave it fucking barren and make it, you know, full of shit.
Right.
Without just copy paste. And a lot of Western developers like
they've reused the formula a lot, yeah.
Well, they were pissed off. And it shows that it also shows that you can like evolve your games. I mean, if you look at something like Demon Souls compared to Elden Ring, like if you take those 2 games separately, sure, the combat is similar. You know, sure, the healing,
but it feels different.
It feels different. They're completely different.
Same
games.
with like Sekiro or Bloodborne.
Bloodborne, yes.
Same formula, but it feels different.
And they've continued to evolve the games. It's like, excuse me. It's like even take like Dark Souls 1 to Dark Souls 3. We don't count Dark Souls 2.
I know. I've heard.
Yeah, but like, you know, take Dark Souls 1 to Dark Souls 3. They're more similar because they're in the same exact series. It's not like, you know, Bloodborne versus Sekiro. Obviously, they're 2 different IPs. Like, no shit. You know what I mean? They're going to be different. But they've continued to evolve it. It's not something like Call of Duty that uses the exact... Like I could probably mix up different clips from different Call of Duties, and if they were all the same graphics, like graphic quality, you may not know what they're like, which one it's from. If same thing with Ubisoft, if I give you certain sandboxes and block out the one designed main character that you're playing, you may not know the difference.
Exactly.
But the thing is, if I show
same with Far Cry, which Far Cry are you playing?
Well, that's different though, because it was fine back when it was back at like Far Cry 3, because they really tried for that one.
That one, yeah, that was the good one. And then like Far Cry 2, where you're in Africa, that one introduced, it's crazy because I remember playing that game and I hated it. But now I appreciate it because it introduced a thing of degrading weapons. You're sick and you got to continuously treat yourself. And I used to fucking hate that, but now I appreciate that.
I used to love the minor healing mechanic. Where like, oh, hey, you broke your finger, cool.
You crack or like you pull a bullet out of yourself.
Yeah,
I used to love that
too. Some of that stuff was like really cool. That was good ideas, and then they just got repetitive. It's the same fucking thing. Then it came back to like Far Cry Primal, where they literally took the previous Far Cry game, gave it like a find and replace tool to kind of, you know, change up the landscape.
Yeah, it was the same map.
They literally took the map, turned it around, and had you start. Like, I was like, you sons of bitches.
Yeah, they like reshaded it, flipped it upside down, and then added fucking like mastodons and shit in it. It was weird.
I was like, you sons of bitches. Like, and not to mention too, like every review I ever hear about like a lot of the Far Cry games or a lot of the Ubisoft games, as soon as you find an exploit, the exploit works for the whole game.
Yeah,
I remember, what was it, Far Cry 4? The game was broken by getting on the fucking helicopter, that little gyrocopter you could get on. And as soon as I found a grenade launcher that I could use while I was in a vehicle, I would just go over a fucking enemy base, just
And yeah, that's how it was.
everyone's dead. Same thing too with Far Cry Primal. It's like as soon as I saw reviews for it, everyone's talking about, hey, just use the scouting owls to drop berserk bombs and have the enemies kill themselves, walk in, kill one dude, and be like, I did it. Like, and it was such an exploit. And it was so bad.
It got to the point where it was so boring that you just found different ways to fucking get yourself in a shitty situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of like the game putting you in a shitty situation, you got to figure it out. You had to figure out how to put yourself in a shitty situation to change it up.
Hey, Ubisoft, why do I have to make your game exciting for you?
Why do I have to do this myself?
Exactly.
So, all right, so let's back on topic here.
No.
Even after months of union busting, the Washington Post said that Raven employees found these tactics ineffective, back to them trying to tell him no,
Right.
just vote no, and still voted yes to the union. Good for you. The National Labor Relations Board will count ballots live via video conference after May 20th voting deadline, which is yesterday.
Look up the results.
Raven Software's union vote has been a long and difficult journey. The first started the strike against last winter. Roughly 12 QA contractors were similar. We've already talked about that. Since then, Activision Blizzard has broken up the Raven QA team, held mandatory anti-union meetings, alleged threatened staff from discussing work conditions, and even announced pay raises and full-time hiring for all contractors except for those in Raven Software. Nice.
Look up the results.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see what else here. New York City is suing the Call of Duty publisher over its planned merger with Microsoft, accusing Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick of undervaluing the company and attempting to escape legal liability and other lawsuits.
He would never do that.
Let's look up the results because this went through yesterday.
Yeah.
So let's see.
We'll be on time for the
Raven
news.
Union vote.
Yes.
Okay, let's see.
All
of these are old.
like results.
Hang on, let me see the results. Let's see. Activision workers engaged in landmark. Ooh, wow, that's tiny. Landmark video game union vote. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we can find anything. You know, they might not be done counting. I mean, it is Saturday. We probably won't know the results till Monday.
Fine, but
Tell you what,
I want to know what those results are.
Once we know the results, we will actually I'll discuss them like fucking first thing Tuesday.
All right.
So yeah, that's I'm excited to find that one out.
All right.
So more into the controversy of Activision. So California Governor Gavin Newsom, which nobody in California likes, by the way.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's amazing that this guy didn't get that recall vote didn't go through, because I haven't yet to meet someone from California that says he's doing a good job. So Gavin Newsom is being accused of interfering in an Activision Blizzard lawsuit. So California Governor Gavin Newsom has been accused of interfering with an Activision Blizzard sexual harassment lawsuit. Allegations were made by Melanie Proctor, Assistant Chief Counsel for the California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing, after her boss, Chief Counsel Jeanette Whipper, was fired by the governor last month, which at the time of this was March. So this whole thing happened in April. Sorry. As reported by Bloomberg, Proctor resigned in protest to the firing and sent an email to staff saying the governor began to interfere in recent weeks, and as we continued to win in state court, this interference increased, mimicking the interests of Activision's counsel. So she added, the office of the governor repeatedly demanded advance notice of litigation strategy and the next steps in the litigation, and that her boss, Whipper, attempted to protect the agency's independence. I hereby resign effective April 13, 2022, in protest of the interference of Jeanette's termination. So essentially what he's being accused of is wanting to know the strategy for for the people suing so he can feed information to the defense.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure is against the law.
Yeah, kind of.
So, that's the wrong button. Newsom's communication director, Aaron Mellon, said claims of interference by your offices are categorically false. Of course you'd say that. Like, why take accountability? Adding that the governor's office will continue to support the DFEH in their efforts to fight all forms of discrimination and protect the Californians. But they're buddies. Him and Bobby Kotick fuck. So, like, why not? Like, hey, buddy, before we go on this golfing outing, I want you to know what the prosecution plans to do, what they plan to do with this lawsuit. So you know, I'm actually I don't know I don't even think he got investigated because he's a governor, a Democratic one. So they get away with everything. Murder. No politics. Anyway, so now we're going to talk about Bobby the Cuck, the most evil fucker in gaming.
Just about.
So U.S. authorities investigate Bobby Kotick over alleged insider trading. 3 individuals made $59 million after buying shares days before the Microsoft deal was announced. My name's Bobby. Fucking dick. Bobby Kotick is being investigated over alleged insider trading surrounding the recent Microsoft acquisition. Kotick is accused of providing 3 individuals with information about the deal before it was made public, allowing them to invest in Activision Blizzard just before it was announced for personal gain. Businessmen Alexander von Furstenberg, Barry Diller, and David Geffen all purchased shares in Activision Blizzard on January 14th. This was just 4 days before Microsoft revealed that it would be acquiring the gaming giant, resulting in a $59 million profit for the trio. Kotick met with von Furstenberg before the purchase were made, and it's this meeting that is central to the investigation being conducted by the U.S. Justice Department. Go away. So the investigation is uncovered by the Wall Street Journal. Of course it is, because they love doing this to Activision, which learned from sources that Bobby Kotick is yet to be interviewed by law enforcement. The Justice Department declined to comment on the status of the investigation because it's active. But the Wall Street Journal reports that it is concerning alleged breaches of insider trading law on Kotick's part. Barry Diller, founder of the Fox Broadcasting Company and von Furstenberg's stepfather, has defended Kotick from all these allegations of inside trading breaches. He further described the controversial CEO as a sophisticated professional. He says his meeting with von Furstenberg was a social breakfast and one that was apparently disclosed to authorities by von Furstenberg himself. Activision commented on the case in the report, denying any wrongdoing. Mr. Kotick had a social brunch with his friends at a popular restaurant because we all know what friends talk about, especially corporate friends. They talk about business. And you mean to tell me he doesn't say, hey, man, I'm just going to say you should probably invest in our stock. It'll be very fruitful for you in the coming times. What do you know, Bobby? Can't say because of legal reasons, but I'm just saying you should invest in it. Okay. So, a spokesperson said to the Wall Street Journal, he, of course, didn't share any information with the team regarding a possible transaction with Microsoft. I mean, it's easy to say that because there's no actual evidence that we know of. So this comes just after Activision Blizzard ends one of its many other legal woes after they, settle with the DFEH. So
that poor legal team.
God, they're just like, please stop. Please stop.
Restraining order.
The restraining order that we're going to talk about, the restraining order from Bobby's ex. So Kotick's ex-girlfriend obtained a restraining order against him. And now this is in 2014. Activision Blizzard CEO's subsequent girlfriend, after the ex, Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg, twice leaned on a tabloid to shelve the stories on the issue. So this is why no one heard of it until recently. So an ex-girlfriend of Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick obtained a temporary restraining order against him in 2014 after she accused him of harassing her at her home. He wouldn't do that. Come on. He only threatens to kill his secretary. Furthermore, on 2 occasions when the UK tabloid, the Daily Mail, was preparing to report that the restraining order on Kotick's then-girlfriend, Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg, persuaded the paper not to cover it. The Wall Street Journal reports that happened once at the beginning of her relationship with Kotick in 2016 and once near the end of it in 2019. It goes on to say that the efforts were planned by Kotick, Sandberg, and employees of both Facebook and Activision, as well as outside legal and PR advisors. The paper reports that Kotick had told others that Sandberg threatened the Daily Mail, saying publishing an article about a restraining order would hurt the outlet's business and relationship with Facebook. Kotick denied saying that when asked by the paper. Right? Shocking. As for the restraining order, a petition for a longer duration of restraining order was dropped at the request of both parties 3 weeks after being filed. The Wall Street Journal cited people with knowledge of the matter as saying Kotick's ex-girlfriend from 2014 told people her declaration included exaggerations and falsehoods. That declaration, which is missing from the Los Angeles County Superior Court public case file regarding the restraining order, but a transcript of which was reviewed by the paper, says the woman broke up with Kotick due to his bullying and controlling behavior, and that he responded by showing up to her home uninvited trying to get in, leading her to call the cops. The Activision board of directors released statements saying that Kotick had notified it about the 2014 incident. When it happened, that it investigated found no merit to the woman's allegations, that it continues to have full confidence in Mr. Kotick's leadership and his ability to run the company. I couldn't roll my eyes fucking harder if I tried.
I know.
It's like, you mean the same guys that were like defending him through all the fucking harassment allegations within the company? All his buddies that are on the fucking board defending their buddy who's kind of a shitbag, or not kind of, but is a shitbag because y'all are rich and he makes you money. And of course you're going to fucking defend him. Yeah. It's the same. Like I said, it's the same repeating round robin bullshit. They keep saying the same fucking thing over and over again because that's just what they do. Rich people defend rich people.
It's just weird because, like, could you imagine being one of those guys like, dude, there's another incident?
Imagine being a rich person with fucking integrity.
Like, I just couldn't imagine that. Just like sitting there, like, you're part of his fucking, like, the people who've been speaking up for him. And you're just sitting there like, Bobby, are you telling me you like had to grope someone else? Like, are you fucking serious? Like,
you threatened to kill your fucking secretary? Why? Your girlfriend has a restraining order on you? People are saying you're sexually harassing them? No, but he makes his money, so fucking ignore it, I guess.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that that's exactly what happened.
That's 100% what happened.
Like,
you can fucking tell us one thing, Activision, but we all see through it, especially when you say the same exact bullshit over and over again every time something like this comes out.
Well, it's not true. We trust him to run the company.
We don't think we have full confidence in his ability to run the company. Cool. What about the fucking allegations?
Yep.
Running a company versus being a colossal piece of shit are two different things. I do get it, but I don't get it.
100%.
So Kotick and his treatment of women has been a recurring problem for Activision Blizzard. The publisher was sued for gender discrimination last year by the California DFEH and the Equal Opportunity Commission. On separate legal actions, one of Blizzard's co-presidents resigned when the publisher reportedly refused to pay her the same amount as her male co-president. We've discussed this. The Wall Street Journal also reported that Kotick threatening an assistant he would have her killed, firing an attendant on a private jet he co-owned after she complained of sexual harassment from the pilot, and interviewing to protect the studio. Head of HR investigated a sexual harassment complaint against him and recommended he be terminated. Kotick's attempts to manage bad press have also been reportedly on previously, with the Wall Street Journal saying that he floated the idea of bullying outlets like Kotaku and PC Gamer in order to change the public narrative about him.
Which totally worked in his favor.
Oh, yeah. It didn't go wrong at all. It didn't make him look worse, not one bit. And this is the fucking shit I've always been talking about. There's a pattern here. There's a pattern. And when you see a pattern, you tend to think that you find the truth in the pattern. It's not one of those one-offs where like something happened. Maybe it's not true. But when there's a fucking pattern of behavior here, Amber Heard, then it tends to be the truth. You know?
Yeah.
Johnny Depp beat the shit out of me. Has he beat the shit out of any other girlfriend? No. Have you beat the shit out of every other person you've been with? Yes. So there's a pattern there. You are actually the abusive fuck. This person's not.
That case, man, that's fucking wild.
I know, man. I hope they put her under the jail.
Well, the problem is, though, she's not going to be going to jail.
I know she's not. She'll never see the inside of a cell ever, and that's the unfortunate part.
But she might be broke after this.
No, she's going to be hella broke. I really like that after she got fucking flamed on the stand by Johnny's legal team.
Yeah.
She didn't even, she walked out of court before the judge dismissed anybody.
Really?
You didn't see that?
No, I didn't.
After she got fucking absolutely destroyed on the stand by Johnny's lawyer.
Well, it's like we said, they're catching her in a lot of lies right now because she has no way of proving that he did anything, because there is no proof that she has no way of saying, yeah, no, he actually did this.
No, I know,
because this isn't a case like a lot of people I think forget. This isn't like, oh, hey, yeah, no, we're seeing like, you know, if she or Johnny are going to go to jail because of abuse or whatever. No, this is about defamation. This is about, did you lie about this stuff or not, you know, to ruin his career? And the answer right now is unfathomably yes. Yes, you did. This isn't about, oh, well, did she abuse Johnny? Unfortunately, that does lead into a lot of it. Like, hey, listen, she's probably the abuser. She's probably all this stuff. But also too, it's like, no, if she had any shred of proof that this happened to her, she would go up, hey, Your Honor, here is a video or an audio of him hitting me. All right. That's
done.
it. That's it. We're done. Because there's proof. And then that would completely defeat his case in every way. But they don't have that. They don't have anything. They have nothing going on for Amber here. And this is a huge case for a lot of people. I know there's a lot of people on social media who are pissed off. They're like, oh, suddenly all these men are interested in an abuse case. I was like, yeah, because finally this society generally believes the dude for once.
Yeah.
This flies completely in the face of just believe all women. And and for a lot of men, this is huge.
It is huge.
Because it shows people, hey, because I don't know if you remember the last previous case with them, he essentially got told, hey, you can't be abused because you're the man.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why that last court case went out. And so now it's like, hey, no, this is a huge case for men because, hey, yes, you can be abused and blamed for it. And no, you shouldn't just believe the woman because she looks really, really sad with her mascara running down her face because she doesn't want to be called a liar. No, don't just believe people. Take it seriously. But you know what I mean? Like really look into it, you know, take it seriously, but don't just believe them.
Sometimes I miss the old days when women couldn't do anything.
What the fuck?
You know, when they talk back, they got the shit kicked out of them.
We'll see.
And no one believed women.
Well, you see, like I told,
I'm just kidding.
Like I told everyone, when everyone talks about like the microaggressions that the patriarchy uses to like keep women down, I was like, no. I was like, if men really wanted to keep women down as like a second-class citizen, I just make it legal for me to beat the fuck out of you.
Here, the thing is, when it comes to abusive women, they're very different from abusive men.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly.
Because they're not just physically abusive.
In fact, many times they're not physically abusive.
They're emotionally abusive.
They're manipulative.
Yes, that's the word I was going to say next.
They're narcissistic. They're not. Most women realize that. Because men and women operate differently. Sure, there are manipulative men and there are physically abusive women out there. Obviously, there are differences to the trends. But like most men, when they're abusive, they are physically abusive. Why? Because I'm bigger than you. Because I physically can be. So why is my brain going to go to try to be like, oh, well, I'll just tell everyone that you're an awful person and then they'll believe me. Like they're not going to go that route. They're just going to hit you because that keeps you in line. But for someone like, you know, Amber Heard, sure, she does hit Johnny, but like, it's easy.
And cut his finger off.
It's easier for her to literally manipulate him and gaslight him and use and irritate and offend and abuse him until he finally gets so mad that he either has to walk away.
And then she records it.
Or he does everything and then she'll try to record it. Now, the funny part is it didn't work. Now, and that's why people don't understand that when we look at abuse, it's not just, well, did she hit him? Well, no, because a lot of times, a lot of female abusers won't do that because they know that there could be repercussions for that.
No, what they'll do is they'll push the fucking buttons till you lose it, and then they they get upset and they point at you when you lose it. But that's why it's funny because I see a lot of times where women are recording guys when they're losing their fucking minds. And lately I've been seeing a lot of comments on videos like that saying there isn't a full context here. Why is he doing that?
I've been so proud of like a lot of people lately on social media because a lot of people now are going, can I see the full unedited video?
Yeah, can I
like,
see the
like,
before?
Hey, can I see all of this? And this isn't just with like social interactions. This is with everything. like even like good things, like, you know, like people who are like doing good things apart from like certain, obviously, like if you're saving a kid from a burning building, I'm not gonna be like, how did the fire start? Tell me, Dave. Like,
Right,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like I get that, but like, but no, a lot of people are starting to ask a lot more questions. It's encouraging just because, and it's better for everybody because then the person who's really doing something fucked up is going to get seen doing something fucked up.
Right.
And the person who's really getting attacked, whether it be however it's done physically or not, it's just like, oh, cool. Now we will see. Oh, hey, you were breaking all his shit. Hey, you spilt his mom's ashes on the carpet and vacuumed them up, and then he gave you a black eye. You're lucky you're not dead. Like, you know.
So the one thing I could say that's really helped that case with Johnny is for two things. One, Amber was stupid enough to record the lead up to him having these meltdowns. And two, Johnny was smart enough to keep his cool and record what led up to, you know, these meltdowns. Because,
well, he also kept a lot of the recordings too of him saying, she's like, well, where are you going? I'm leaving the situation right now.
yeah, he was covering his own ass.
Why are you leaving? Because I'm angry and I'm leaving the situation right now. I'll come back and I'll talk when, you know, when we're calm. So, you know, or like when, like the one audio with her hitting him, she's like, where are you going? He's like, no, I'm going to leave right now because because you started a physical fight. So I'm going to leave the situation. Like,
and she didn't like that.
And she didn't like that. And so they were like, oh, well, you know, he was like running away from it and everything. And those audios really covered his ass by saying, no, I wasn't being abusive. Whenever things got heated, I was leaving.
He was trying to get out of the situation.
Exactly.
She kept escalating it.
Exactly. So it's like, oh, like, are you like, if you're really being the abused person, you're not going to escalate a fight.
No.
Like, that's just not how it works.
No,
like,
you tried everything in your power to avoid it. And by doing everything you can to keep that person cool,
exactly.
You don't fucking push the button and push the button and push the button, provoke, and then fucking gaslight until then all of a sudden you just get your fucking shit pushed in.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you go and cry wolf because, hey, he hits me. It's like he hits you because you literally made him hit you.
Yeah, essentially. Like, so he's really covered his ass with that.
And it's fucked up because my old situation was a lot like that.
Similar.
And like me getting pissed off at shit and irrationally pissed off at shit was often led from a buildup of other things.
Oh, definitely. I mean, so
I'll give you an example. I went to an open mic night.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be a really cool date night thing to go to an open mic night. Yeah. Which was like musicians, comedians, including myself, to go up on stage and play, and hang out, have some drinks, and watch some comedy, watch some other musicians play, and just be a little unique night out. We get food, we come home, we're sitting down, we're eating, and then the first words out of her mouth was like, "We only ever do what you want to do," and I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Why would you think that I would want to go do that?"
Oh, why would I think that you wouldn't?
And I'm like, I just thought it'd be unique. No, you did that for yourself. I'm like, I didn't do that for myself. I did that because, you know, yeah, I wanted to play music, but I thought it'd be a really cool experience to like see other people do stuff too. So it went beyond just me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then my brother came out that night too, and we were all hanging out. And my brother told me when I was on stage, she was talking mad shit about me while I was on stage, and because she didn't want to be there. And then she got pissed off, and I'm like, why is this? I even said, why is this a conversation? Like, why is this happening right now?
Yeah.
And she threw her fucking food at me. And I was like, what the fuck? And then she blamed me for that whole thing. And that was a lot of the fights right there. And then when I get pissed off and fucking really vocal about it, like, wow, oh wow, that's unattractive. I'm like, what the fuck? You turned me into this. It was a lot of that. It was like the gaslighting was fucking real. So a lot of the shit that you heard on those recordings was, I can relate to a lot of that shit.
Well, there's a lot of people like that too who can relate to that because, you know, it's not like another conversation with, like, if you're talking to, you know, like another guy or something. A lot of guys don't do shit like that because they know the threat of physical violence is always there.
Right.
And so they're like, well, I'm not going to go piss them off on purpose. You know, some individuals like may not be that way, you know, they just may not. And even the people who are dickheads aren't going to try to escalate it because they know that there's always going to be some form of consequences with that. But for like a lot of women who are assholes, who are manipulative, awful people, they don't see consequences with that. So like, why can't I just act like that? And a lot of guys identify with that, and they're like, well, yeah, no, I've been talked to just like this. You know what I mean? And when something is wrong done to them, oh, well,
You're a man.
yeah, well, no, it's like, or it's like, oh, you're being a baby about this. You literally fucking came up and started hitting me because you're fucking mad. That's
that part I could relate to, too.
Literally abuse. Like, you're literally abusing him at that point in time. Oh, well, get over it. It's fine. I didn't hurt you. I was like, oh, because it physically doesn't hurt me. It's totally okay then, right? So if I hit you really softly, is that not count as abuse? You know what I mean? So,
right.
Or like, if I don't send you to the hospital, does that mean that it's okay? I didn't abuse you? Like that's totally the wrong thing.
Right. And the whole, you're being a baby or you're being a girl about this or stuff. Like, that's shit that I was told too.
Or go ahead, tell people who's going to believe you. You know,
that part was fucked up.
Like that shows the epitome of what everyone who's gone through it feels like. Oh, okay. Like
no
really,
one's going to believe me.
You're such an awful person that you're going to do something fucked up just because you know you can get away with it.
And then say, who's going to believe you if you tell anybody?
Yeah, exactly.
That's like some shit that like abusive men say, like when they're good men to everybody else, and then they're abusive in the home and no one ever sees it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, who's going to believe you? No one's going to believe. It's like, you know,
That's
Bobby
awful,
Kotick. Who's going to believe you?
Awful. Well, actually, a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people. Now,
well,
a lot of people.
Now, a lot of people might, but yeah, still. So we keep going. I'm distracting you a lot today.
I know you are. So we're going to talk about Modern Warfare 2's
soon to be dead
Tarkov mode.
Yes.
Now, I've been playing a lot of Escape from Tarkov.
And I had been playing a lot of Hunt Showdown.
So I know how this is going to go. And the thing is okay, so I will say this. So the Hunt Showdown and Tarkov do a really good job. I haven't played the Hunt. I've heard a lot about it.
So I think Hunt Showdown is a lot more slower paced because
than Tarkov?
Maybe. I haven't played Tarkov myself.
Dude, Tarkov is really slow paced.
Because that's the way Hunt Showdown is. So Hunt, at least I'll start off with Hunt, but Hunt Showdown is like a supernatural Wild West kind of deal. And so you go in with these weapons, you know, and you either get your loadout or you find or loot weapons off of other people. Cool beans. But there's also the environment that you have to worry about. So it's like
it's the same with Tarkov.
So there's the boss that you have to kill and get the bounty off of and get to the extraction point. There's the zombies and random enemies that are in the actual map itself that attack anybody, not just you. And there's different like mechanics. It's like some of the big dudes who have like the worms near them, like the leeches. If you're poisoned, they'll go after you, which is amazing because I always run fucking poison pistols. Like you can make the bullets do like poison damage. It's amazing. So if we're around those guys,
you shoot them with poison, and the ads go after them.
And the big motherfucker who's really hard to kill immediately bolts after the dude who's poisoned.
That sucks.
Yeah. Oh no, it's amazing. Well, it's really amazing because
I wish Tarkov had some shit like that.
Because you can generally move around them pretty well as long as you're not poisoned. The leeches might chase after you, but they're not very fast. So it's like, okay, you can move around them without too much issue if you don't make a fuck ton of noise or if you don't like shoot them or if you're not poisoned, right? So I love when they're like out in a field and we're like set up in like a building or something. A lot of times I got my it's an old trapdoor Sparks rifle. It's fucking amazing. And so I'll load a poison round into there. I'll hit someone with it. And you just see that fucking big dude go after the dude who just got hit with a sniper bullet. And he's already hurt if he's not dead. And you just see the big dude just done. Fucking, because by that time you already got hit with one of the heaviest hitting rifles in the game. And so in the chest, if you have full health, you probably won't die, but you're poisoned, so you're taking some damage anyway.
And now the big boss
and now the big dude's coming after you. So there's a lot of different elements to it, and which is really neat in terms of the game. But you're also fighting against the other players, and it's really slow paced because it's really audio intensive. So
that's how Tarkov is. So like
you can listen to the enemies, so you can hear like certain zombies like walking through the bush or doing whatever, right? You can hear bullets in the background. Like if someone shoots, you can hear the echo of the gunshot unless it's a silenced weapon. And if they're upstairs and running around, you can hear them running around.
That's how it is. So that's how
there's like litter on the ground where if they like walk through it, even if they're crouched, it makes some noise. So it's awesome. That's why I say it's really slow paced at first, and then it can go to fuck, we're fighting 4 teams at once, and it's ballistic and explosive. Oh, but now the teams are dead. You made it out, whatever. Okay, it's really quiet. And then you have to build back up and find where you're going, and you have to go to the boss and kill the boss, which is usually a loud endeavor. So you have to attract attention and then set up. So it's really cool. It's slow paced.
In Tarkov does have bosses and shit.
Okay.
But you don't have to fight them to get out.
Oh.
So
you're just trying to get out in Tarkov.
But with the you're just basically trying to get what you can and get the fuck out. And honestly, it's up to the other teams to engage you or not, because all of you have the same goal. You don't have to fight other people if you don't want to.
In my experience, it's at least in Hunt, it's on site. If you see anybody,
it's Tarkov's the same way. But the thing is, like, you can there's sometimes where you can cross team, like they see that you are low level, under equipped, and you're only there for like, I'm here to like literally just get quest items and get the fuck out.
Oh no, it's not like that in Hunt.
And
if you see anybody,
when VoIP first came, when like voice chat, like the prox chat first came out for Tarkov, apparently like everybody was like helping each other find things and then get the fuck out together. Because in the game there's these things called scavs, which basically they're AI players, and then there's the player scavs, because there's like 2 things you can do. You can go as your PMC with your gear, and then you earn your XP and all that shit.
Yeah.
And if you get out, cool. And some quests require you to only play that version to complete the quest. But then there's a scav quest where you have to actually find like barter items. And there are other player scavs, which they can also turn on you. And then there's the rogue scavs, which are like AI, which if they're aggroed by anybody, they'll turn on fucking everyone. They don't give a fuck. Yeah. And then there's the raiders, which will turn on everyone regardless.
Ah.
And they're extremely hard. They'll one-shot kill you.
Really?
Yes.
So in Hunt, it's very different because you don't have like these quests to collect things. You're only getting the bounty. Now you can leave without the bounty. Like you can take an extraction and go. But the reason why that's important is because your hunter gains levels as you survive and kill people and get the boss bounties and everything. Now, your player dies if you die. So you get it. So you recruit a new hunter, and that person could have a random set of skills or weapons, and you can use in-game currency to like buy different weapons. So if you really like snipers and your dude has a shotgun, you're not just fucked, right? You can if you.
So all your skills don't transfer.
No.
So Tarkov it does, but the only thing that the thing is like if you die or get fucked up in a raid and you get out, you have to heal your character.
Yeah, same.
And you also have to feed him and give him water.
Okay,
otherwise,
we don't have to do that, but
otherwise all that shit carries over to the next raid.
But but your health bar has different like segments. So you can, if you lose so much health, you can lose a segment of health. So it's not bad if you if you have a bunch of segments, because then you probably only lose maybe 1 or 2 segments, and if they're only like this big, it's not a big deal. Or you can have 3 big bars, and it's not too bad if you take some damage because you won't lose the bar. You know what I mean? But if you lose the bar and then lose part of the next bar, you won't get that back, that first one back, unless you grab the bounty from the boss, in which case it just full heals everybody, restores all their bars and everything, right?
So with Tarkov, you have multiple bars, but it's on each body part. So you have head bar, chest bar, arm bars, leg bars, thorax bars, and if you take too much damage to one part, it's blacked out. And the only way to even be able to heal it is to use the surgical kit.
Ah, okay.
And the surgical kit doesn't heal it. It just makes it to where you can heal it.
See, in Hunt Showdown, you can lose bars even when you've been down. So let's say you die, right? You ran out of health completely. Usually that'll only eliminate 1 bar, right? Like if you just die completely, just because, if you get like headshot, you shouldn't lose every bit of it and not be able to gain it back. So someone can pick you up. The fun part though is that it's a common tradition in Hunt. If you down one teammate and his team is still out there, Molotov, boom, on the body. And so you burn him out. So now he can't be revived if they don't put out the fire and get him up in time. So if someone goes down,
there's no reviving.
There's no reviving them then. So that's why things like that happen all the time. And so it's really funny. And there's a huge amount of different things. There's like choke bombs that get rid of like It's like I remember one match where I actually did amazing. So in water you can't throw like dynamite because it'll go out, right? And it won't blow up.
Mm-hmm.
And in smoke clouds, like choke bombs, which is like smoke, which is like a choking thing, it doesn't do any damage. It messes with you, and your character will like choke, and it'll fuck up your aiming, and it's hard to see through. But if there's a fire, if someone puts a fire on your buddy who's down, you can put down a choke bomb and put the fire out, and they can't burn him out now, right? You can pick him up even. But people will do choke bombs inside their rooms when they're holding up, when they know the enemy team knows where you're at, right? Well, there's even ways to get around that, because I had a waxed dynamite stick, which will blow up even in water or even in the choke bomb. So it's amazing to see the different kit loadouts of different like dynamites, brass knuckles, or like daggers, or like different things, or weapons that have like bayonets on them, or like different types of like armaments. Because they all do different things. Because there are some enemies that you can't hit with a piercing weapon. It's like the Emoliator. It's like this fire zombie. You can punch him out, like if you have like brass knuckles, or if you have like the Nagant revolver with the brass knuckles on it. You can just punch him and he'll die. Like like more than once, but like you can hit him with blunt objects and he'll die. But if you stab him or if you shoot him, he'll blow up in like a big fiery explosion. But he won't die off of that. Like you can kill him with bullets, definitely, and still kill him with a stab, but he'll set you on fire, and that will start eating away at your health bars. And so like, so there's different things. I had an excellent play where they set up a bunch of choke bombs because we were throwing in Molotovs, and they were held up in a corner because it was out of our sniper's range. So I just threw in a fucking wax dynamite stick, triple kill, everyone's down.
Hell yeah,
gone.
So Call of Duty is diving into this whole thing now.
Well, here's my thing though, is with how in depth we just talked about how Tarkov and how Hunt Showdown went into this, all the different mechanics, the different stuff to spice this up. I just don't see them doing a good job.
I don't either. So it says leaked Modern Warfare 2 DMZ mode, Tarkov inspired gameplay, map, and more. So though all known, not officially confirmed, there have been a ton of leaks surrounding Modern Warfare 2 featuring a third mode called DMZ. This is said to be an Escape from Tarkov inspired extraction game. So there's everything we know. Here's everything we know about the leaked mode so far. Traditionally, a Call of Duty game comes with 3 modes: campaign, multiplayer, and zombies spec ops. Warzone 2 is confirmed to be in development alongside Modern Warfare 2. And according to leakers, Modern Warfare 2's third mode would be called DMZ. A ton of leaks and rumors surround DMZ, but with nothing officially confirmed, we recommend taking this information with a pinch of salt. Here's everything that's been leaked so far, including how the DMZ mode works, its expected release date, map, and marketplace. So what is the DMZ mode? So Modern Warfare's DMZ is set to be an Escape from Tarkov-themed extraction-style game mode where players load into the map must battle both players and AI before extracting loot, which can be used again or sold. It's still unclear whether DMZ will be the official name or just an internal name. The mode reportedly had been in development since late 2018. And Henderson quoted an anonymous dev who said, "This has been built from the ground up with the mode in mind, not just an afterthought." And Escape from...
That's encouraging, at least.
Yeah.
Because we definitely know that.
But how true is it?
Oh, definitely. But like, I mean, it's just because we kind of knew that like Battlefield's version of this was not.
No, it was last second.
It was a last minute thing.
So in Escape from Tarkov, anything you take into the raid will be lost if you die, meaning taking high-tier loot comes with a high-risk reward, and DMZ reportedly have the same mechanic. So does Modern Warfare 2's DMZ have a release date? According to the leaker, DMZ is set to arrive with Modern Warfare 2's launch, but will arrive in beta, as Tarkov is currently 5 years in a beta.
I mean, Hunt Showdown was a fucking beta for a long ass time before they just officially said, "Hey, here's the game."
So Hope quoted their source, who explained something like the DMZ doesn't come final until the general public has gotten its hands on it, as a large mode that needs more maintenance. Modern Warfare 2 doesn't have a release date yet, but you can expect it to release in fall 2022. I thought we were going a year without a Call of Duty.
I don't know. I mean, wait, was that the beta or?
I don't know.
That might have been the beta. Maybe that's their cop out.
Why is this considered sensitive content? This is the potential map right here.
Oh, fantastic.
Riveting. So, leaks.
Yes.
So, Tom Henderson believes the Warzone 2 and DMZ will share a map, but other leakers, the Ghost of Hope and Ralph's Valve, claim it will have several maps. Tom Henderson has long believed that the DMZ will share a map with Warzone 2, which is reportedly set in Central America, and will feature classic Modern Warfare 2 maps such as High Rise, Quarry, and Terminal. Henderson claims a source sent them an image of the DMZ map. They were able to verify that it was indeed DMZ. Now, nearly 6 months on, the newly acquired source has sent me the Warzone 2 map, which is identical to the DMZ map. So this is the DMZ map.
See, if they do this right, they can wait a while before they put in a new map. I don't know about Tarkov, but I know Hunt Showdown had the same map for like a couple of years, and the damn thing was so big it didn't matter.
Right.
Now they do have another map out, which is actually quite nice, but the bounties can be set in different locations, so that's why like they're able to get away with stuff like that. Because you could play like 3 or 4 games and not be in the same area at all. So,
I mean, Tarkov kind of makes you go through those areas. It'll
gotcha.
spawn you on one side, and your extractions will be on the other side,
I mean,
and all the bosses are typically in the middle.
I mean, that could happen too, but there are some times too for like Hunt Showdown. It's very rare, but like there are even times where like you spawn in the same like general area of the map where the bounty is at, so you don't travel very much. Or there's times, like you said, where you're over here and the bounty's in the complete opposite corner. And there's times where there's multiple bounties. So you may either do a long trip or you may do a short trip. Or you could be assholes like my group is and try to get both.
So then leaker Modern Warfare 2 Ghost tweeted a recreation of what they claim to be both Warzone 2 and DMZ's map. Let's see it. Let's see it.
I think it's above. Up.
No, it's this.
Oh. Is that it, really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's it.
I mean, you're not lying, but it doesn't say much.
No, it don't. Wait, what the fuck happened? I gotta go all the way the fuck back down. Wait, what is this? Am I in the right thing? No, I'm not in the right thing. Here's what I was on. Okay, let's keep going. Get back to where I was. So, however, the Ghost of Hope and Ralph's Valve have claimed that since November there have been multiple DMZ maps. Hope appears adamant that there will be around 4 without DMZ being official. There's no way of knowing for sure. DMZ mode reportedly brings marketplace with tradable items. According to the Ghost of Hope and Modern Warfare 2's DMZ mode will bring a marketplace where items can be bought and traded. This sounds similar to Escape from Tarkov, where players can buy, sell, and trade their loot with other players. In the same leak, Hope claims that you are able to earn skins, blueprints, and more from the DMZ that are usable across multiplayer and eventually Warzone 2. They don't believe you'll be able to trade blueprints, though. It negates the entire I have to find this and earn it.
Gotcha.
Of course, neither Activision nor Infinity Ward have confirmed that the DMZ mode is in development, so take this all with a heavy pinch of salt. Yay. I honestly don't think they're going to be able to pull that off.
I don't either.
I think it's going to be DOA. Just by their track record, it's going to be DOA.
And in other not news, Bethesda is delaying projects.
Yes. So Starfield and Redfall have been delayed. Bethesda delays both upcoming games with one short Twitter post. Bethesda has announced that both the spacefaring RPG Starfield and Arcane's co-op shooter Redfall have been delayed, with a Twitter post that developers quietly pushed with projects into 2023. And considering that we haven't seen gameplay for either, it's not exactly a huge surprise. Who really thought we were getting Starfield this year anyway? I mean, I didn't think we were.
Well, I mean, it's just not surprising. I mean, Bethesda does usually take about almost a decade to make some of their games,
right?
And they're fantastic. I'm not bitching about.
Not all of them.
I'm just
Fallout
saying,
76.
I mean, but that didn't take a decade to make.
When they announced Fallout 76 and they said it was coming out 4 months after the announcement, I knew immediately it was going to be shit.
I mean, Bethesda's one of those game developers. They need to take their time to make it, and when they do, like Skyrim, like even some of the Fallout games, amazing. But they don't just turn out games.
You can't rush it. So this Twitter post says we've made the decision to delay the launches of Redfall and Starfield to the first half of 2023. The teams at Arcane Austin and Bethesda Game Studios have incredible ambitions for their games. We want to ensure that you receive the best, most polished versions of them. I'm for a delay, honestly. We want to thank everyone for their excitement in Redfall, Starfield. Shit. Yeah, I don't care. Starfield has especially had a rather strange marketing process so far. Bethesda has been publishing videos detailing parts of the game, like the music, for quite a while before any substantial information on what the game actually is. Though we're hoping to see more of both projects this summer, we're going to have to wait at least until next year to get our hands on them. Now, I am all for, a delay.
Yeah, I mean, if you needed the extra time to make the game good, then I'm not going to complain.
Look at Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk was a prime example that it needed another year.
Yeah, 100%.
And I mean, like, in them not setting a date, they're just saying sometime in the first half of 2023. Okay. There's not a set date for that they have to worry about. They can delay it again if they need to.
Or you would just say coming soon or possibly 2023 or whatever.
Yes.
It gives you a whole year to fucking work with. Shit.
I'm just waiting for, because Alicia's putting her poll up. Because she's been taking poll. She used to take poll and she stopped for a while. I encouraged her to pick it back up because she really liked it.
The fuck are you talking about?
Pole dancing.
Okay.
So, and she has a pole, but she has had nowhere to put it because my house isn't exactly roomy.
Mm-hmm.
So she's putting it up in the living room, and I'm just like kind of waiting for the loud boom from right above us. I hope that doesn't happen. I really do. But I will not lie. I would be lying if I said I wouldn't be laughing my ass off if I heard it. I love her to death. I really do, though. So Square Enix has been getting rid of shit. So Square Enix plans to build a new studios and IP after selling off Tomb Raider and Deus Ex. And I don't think those are the only studios they got rid of, the IPs they got rid of. The studio's refocusing development efforts after a sizable shakeup. Ooh. Oh, Kingdom Hearts is another one they got rid of.
Really? Shit. I mean, no one cared, but still, shit.
That's not true. A lot of people cared.
I mean, after the third one, not a lot of people cared.
So after shedding much of its Western development presence, Square Enix plans to establish new IP studios and realign its business. In its latest financial report, Square Enix briefly outlined plans to strengthen our IP ecosystem as a medium-term business strategy. In particular, it stressed the move to cultivate robust IP, as well as the creation of a new IP. The plan will be aided by moves to boost game development capabilities by establishing new studios, mergers and acquisitions, etc.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, that actually does kind of sound smart. Hey, here are some IPs that we haven't made games on in a long ass time. And the last time we did, they weren't super profitable. We're going to sell them and try to do something else. I can't complain about that. Like, okay.
So this suggests that Square is looking to create potentially acquire some additional studios. This follows Square's sale of Tomb Raider studio Crystal Dynamics. So Crystal Dynamics, they got rid of.
Oh, shit.
So that means the Avenger games.
I mean, I'm not hurt
I know.
by that.
Deus Ex Studios, Eidos Montreal, as well as Square Enix Montreal and other attached IP, a $300 million deal with Embracer Group. At the time, Square Enix described the deal as a way to assist the company in adapting the changes underway in the global business environment by establishing a more efficient allocation of resources. Square revisited the purpose of the deal in its latest report, affirming plans to better align overseas publishing function with organization in Tokyo. The company also notably doubled down on its divestiture, helping to accelerate launch and monetization of new businesses, and by moving forward in investments and focus, including blockchain, AI, and the cloud. So I was right.
That's sad.
Square's even roughed out ambitions, launched a new NFT brand and IP in the back of the new blockchain push. So as I said before we talked about it, I feel like this is their way of getting rid of games to get into NFTs.
I mean, that's fine. I say that's fine because they weren't making great
Motherfuckers,
shit.
you can have it. Like, NFTs should not be in video games. In fact,
True.
there is a video game that I won't name that is very NFT focused. And I'll talk to you about this off, recording.
Does it happen to deal with Ubisoft?
No.
Really? Oh, I was expecting that.
No. But there's a reason why I don't want to talk about it on stream, because I have branding involved with it. But
oh no.
So, but it's a game
You've
that,
become the thing you wanted to destroy.
No, I haven't.
Yes, you have.
Actually, I have not.
You're dipping into the dark side.
I'm really not.
You really are.
No, I'm really not. And I'll explain to you off stream. And there's a reason why. Hang on, I'll tell you. I'll tell you and cut it out. All right, so we're back. Anyway, so Square revisited we already talked about that shit. So we're done.
Yes, we did. We're done.
So this one's a fucked story, and it's one that we talk about every so often because it always gets brought up, and that's blaming video games for all the world problems.
Hey, everybody, we're going to blame everything but ourselves.
Yeah, we're going to blame. And it's fucked up because the shooter's manifesto was literally put out there, and there was like, he's a right-wing extremist, and it was just like, he claimed to be a authoritarian left. Even in his Discord, in his manifesto, he says, I'm an authoritarian left. This is where I fall on the political spectrum. He's like, so he's a liberal, authoritarian liberal. So he was like, and what he did was racially motivated, and it's really fucked up.
Yeah.
Even more so that, and it was even more fucked up because the guy was wearing body armor and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was an armed security officer in there who did shoot the guy, but didn't hurt him at all because he was wearing armor. And that guy got killed. So it's just like one of those things where you look at it and it raises a lot of questions. Because I always notice this whenever like the government tries to push for gun control, there's mass shootings all the time. Every time it happens. We need to ban this. The next day, a shooting.
Well, I mean, it's like
I don't believe in coincidences.
Well, it was like the Las Vegas,
especially with the government.
Well, it was like the Las Vegas shooting. It's like they claimed that he had like what 15 AR-15s or some shit like that.
And all the AR-15s had everything on them that they were trying to push to ban.
Yeah, of course.
Bump stocks.
But the weird part was that was like automatic gunfire. Like, because if you like watch the videos, that was automatic gunfire.
They were saying it was automatic gunfire from the bump stock.
But the bump stock doesn't fire that fast.
I know it doesn't.
And I'm not even a fan of bump stocks. It's just like they just don't fire that quickly.
They fire inconsistently.
Yeah, and they don't fire like that. And the issue too is that would have meant that he would have been holding an AR, shooting it full auto, which I don't know how he got it full auto because that's not allowed either. That's currently not allowed under the laws. Would have dropped one, kept firing with the other one, picked up another one, ran out, picked up another. Like, I just don't see how that would have worked. Like,
did you know? I never told anybody this.
And they only found like what 3 or 4 shell casings there. Like, I think it was more like 50. But you're talking about concentrated machine gun fire for multiple.
Here's my 2 cents on this. When that happened, my mom knows a cop or a detective in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
He showed her the crime scene photos that they just took.
Yeah.
And I saw them too. And he said, do not share this. I can get in a lot of trouble for this getting out. And then eventually someone leaked it because he must have sent it to somebody else besides us because we didn't leak it.
Right.
I saw the crime scene photos before they were public.
Yeah.
And they were unedited. And the first thing I said when I looked at it, I'm like, this is staged. Everything, all these weapons, the way that all this shit is laid out, it's staged.
Yeah, 100%.
And then I saw the guy's body. And the way that his gun was by his body, there's no way he was holding it. Like, there's no way that he was holding it when they shot him. So he must have been fucking shot there, and they planted it there. Like, everything looked fucking staged as shit. And then I looked at the AR-15 he had, and the first thing I said is like, well, would you look at that? Every single attachment that's on that AR-15 is in the new bill that they're trying to push to ban.
Yeah.
Bump stocks. He had another one that had an arm brace. And I'm like, what's the point of that? Those arm braces don't do shit. They're more made to make AR pistols more stable when you fire them. Mm-hmm. They don't have any long range purpose.
Nope.
And they don't have any, like, all that stuff. And, like, everything there was like staged as fuck. And with this, a lot of questions are raised that if you look at the video, like, the way that this guy was engaging people was very, like, as if he knew exactly what he was doing.
What do you mean?
Basically, the way he was moving and shooting people and stuff was like he was like he had like choreographed this or trained it or was trained to do it. Because, like, no random Joe with a fucking AR-15 is going to do the things that he was doing.
I didn't see.
I mean, I don't know. But, like, anyway, so what's going on with this whole situation is that New York Attorney General is investigating Twitch, Discord, and 4chan over the shooting. So what's this? Akon is also under investigation? I never heard of that. New York Attorney General Latita James announced Wednesday that her office has launched an investigation in Twitch, Discord, 4chan, 8kun, previously 8chan, and other web and social media platforms in response to the racist attack in Buffalo, New York. The investigation will focus on platforms that may have been used to stream, promote, and plan the event. Now, here's the thing. Why are you investigating the platform that, what do they have to do with it? Because they didn't moderate it and catch it and report it? How do you moderate that? You know how many millions of people, tens of millions of people are using those platforms? You can't moderate it all. It's not possible. But they want to blame them.
Yeah, of course. Well, because that's the best way that they can get away with it. Hey, we don't want to say that what they don't want to do is they don't want to say that their gun laws don't work. They don't want to say that their behavioral health system doesn't work. They don't want to say anything about their education system. They don't want it to be their fault at all. They just want to say, oh, well, guns are bad, even though our gun laws are strict here. So why should it have been?
Yeah, New York has some of the strictest gun laws in the country.
So why should it have been able to happen under your gun laws? Oh, that's right. They don't work. And then there's also the other issue too of, oh, well, how do you stop stuff like this? Honestly, you got to buff up your education system. You got to buff up your behavioral health system, and you got to buff up your fucking laws to things.
Even with all those, there's one factor that can never be fucking solved. And that's some people are just fucking psychotic.
Oh, definitely speaking. Like there are some people who you can't stop. One day everything's fine, and the next day they just fucking snap. And I do get that. There are fucking crazy people out there, and you can't fix that. But it's just insane. Hey, we're gonna look for something else to blame.
Yeah, that's what exactly we're blame shifting here. So they said that they're focusing their attention on the platforms the shooter used to discuss and amplify the attack. The gunman reportedly planned his attack on a private server on Discord before the shooting. In a document written by the shooter, he mentions using and getting influenced by both 4chan and 8chan, two sites known for lack of moderation. As we continue to mourn the honor and the lives lost that were stolen, we are taking serious action to investigate these companies for their roles in this attack. Their roles? Twitch bans you for saying virgin and simp. You mean to tell me that his fucking shit was banned within minutes of him starting it?
So then the issue then becomes like, well, how do you blame the companies? Because they didn't help him plan this. And it wasn't like a long period of time of like, oh, other people helped me plan this, and Twitch and so didn't like help shut this down. Like, I mean, he's acting alone. You're going to plan this shit regardless.
Right. So, on Saturday, a white supremacist gunman killed 10 people and injured 3 in an attack targeting a black community. He streamed the entire attack on Twitch. It wasn't the entire attack, which was later shared on Twitter, Facebook, and other platforms, even as the networks worked to take them down. A Discord spokesperson and said the company will cooperate with the investigation. The spokesperson, who asked to not be named due to the sensitive subject matter, said that the shooting suspect's Discord server was private until about 30 minutes before the attack, when it was shared with a small group of people. We are continuing to do everything we can to assist law enforcement, and investigation remains ongoing. So it's unfortunate, but it's like we're looking in the wrong places here. Like heavily looking in the wrong places here. Because
definitely,
even Discord they're not exactly a major company. They're not run by a lot of people, and they can't moderate every fucking server out there. That's why servers have moderation roles. So it's on the server to moderate them. But if they're a private server where they're only just them, like there's only so much Discord can see and do.
Right.
So, yeah, like it's unfortunate, but you can't blame Discord for this. Same with Twitch. Just because he used Twitch to stream it, I bet you if it was fucking Facebook, they wouldn't say anything.
Oh, of course not, because Facebook isn't part of video games and guns and violence and the things that we despise.
The things that fit the narrative. Facebook has always been for the greater good.
Except for when it first came out.
I'm trying to find the X on this fucking ad so it's not taking up my whole fucking page here.
Oh, shit.
Is it your duty phone?
No, it's just my phone.
We're going to take a phone call. All right, we're back. We're going to wrap this up soon, so don't worry. After we talk about romance fraud.
Romance fraud.
Romance fraud.
Man, do you know how rich I could be if I could just sue every woman who led me on? That'd be amazing.
Dude, I'd be a billionaire.
I'd be richer than Bobby the Kotick.
So, Twitch streamer facing romance fraud lawsuit. Romance fraud lawsuit from Obsessed Fan. I'm going to hear it on this fucking episode. I know it. Doc's going to... Eldridge is going to be like, you can't read.
Well, I mean, you can't read for shit.
I can. It's just today I'm tired as fuck, and I'm like... Ugh.
Brock, this has been months.
I have good days. So a Twitch streamer known to fans as Miss Kenner has claimed that one of her donors is currently threatening legal action, among other things, because she doesn't feel romantic feelings towards him. Miss Kenner is a Destiny 2 streamer with a modest following who, like most small Twitch streamers, relies primarily on donations to make a living. Unfortunately, the streamer now has alleged that one of her more generous donors have massively affected her income after she rebuffed his advances. As first reported by Dextero, Ms. Kenner posted a deeply concerning Twitter thread documenting her experiences with a fan who is a public figure in the music industry. She wrote, "He was always an insane gifter and donator. Well, now I see he's just literally insane." Kenner went on to claim that she received tons of donations from the viewer before he eventually informed her that he wanted to be in a relationship. Kenner, who was married with kids, immediately informed the viewer that she simply didn't feel the same way. He responded by immediately attempting to revoke all of his PayPal and Twitch donations. She says, "That pushed me thousands into the negative." Can you imagine, like, all of a sudden you're negative couple grand? "I have been fighting with them, and today I received word that his bank has decided in his favor. Now I have to pay all of it back." The viewer has reportedly threatened to sue Kenner for romance fraud and has allegedly made threats to dox her and her family. Fortunately, Kenner is refusing to back down. She made it clear that she would take the matter to court if pushed, and as recently as yesterday, April 18th, she revealed that she'd made progress on getting some of those initial donations back. She says, "I made some progress with this. The whole payout is really not something that I'm going to hash out on socials," she said. "I just wanted everyone to know that stuff like this is very real and protect yourselves."
The payout.
Payout. Oh, the whole playout. Oops. This is hardly the...
So Eldridge is correct. He can't.
Shut the fuck up. This is hardly the first time that a Twitch fan has gotten into their heads that they have a certain ownership of a Twitch streamer or YouTuber. Followers that have made donations can sometimes tell themselves that their contributions mean they're owed something. This is nonsense, of course, but Kenner's situation is a chilling reminder of how quickly these situations can unravel. And it's true. We've discussed this before. There's like this weird mentality with these like mega donors and like subbers and stuff, where they feel like because they've donated so much and put so much money into this person's channel that they're owed something in return. And often you'll see this with women's channels, and they are often given all these donations and subs, and under the guise of the dude wants to fucking bang this chick.
Yeah.
But it's under the guise of, I'm here to support you. But the truth is, there's a more nefarious reason behind it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just kind of, it's really disgusting because unfortunately, like, it's one thing if you're a company and you agree on a project with someone else that if you donate X amount of money, you'll have some say in it. We're literally talking about individuals here that you aren't talking to really. You're just donating to them. And then you feel entitled to some of influence upon their product, and it's just not the case,
right? And it makes that streamer believe like, oh, they're like maybe they're doing a good job, they're here to support me, they believe in my brand and all this stuff, and the truth is they just want to fuck you.
Yeah.
And then when you say no, they can take it back from you.
Well, that's also bullshit too, because I don't know in what planet that bank would have been like, oh yeah, no, we agree, he should totally keep that money. The
thing is, most, like, when it comes to fraud, a lot of banks don't really just look at it. They kind of...
I think if she puts this any kind of public, the bank's going to side with her.
I'm sure they will.
Because the issue is, yes, you're right. He probably just said, oh, it's fraud. And then the bank was like, oh, shit. Okay, cool. Take it back. But the problem is if you were to tell anybody, hey, I donated this money to somebody. I didn't have an agreement. I donated this money to a channel. And then I tried to, have sex with this woman, and she said no, so I want my money back. That's not how that works. You already donated the money, bud.
The worst thing is, like, this guy thinks that he has any ground to stand on with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Just like,
it's
okay.
Well, because I'm sure what he's going to do when this goes to court, if it goes to court, is that he's going to say, well, she led me to believe that she wanted me. But the thing is, it's all on record. Yeah. Every single bit of it's on record. Mm-hmm. What were her actions when you were donating?
I would love to see this go to court, because he should, if there's any justice in the world, he should get fucking sent to the goddamn cleaners.
I'm curious of who it is, because apparently he's a person of influence in the music industry.
And apparently
a public figure in the music industry.
And apparently he's doing some really stupid shit, because it's just the idea of, yes, every bit of what was going on is recorded. So clearly there's no proof that what he is saying is true. You donated the money anyway, and you expected that money back, and then sent out threats because she didn't want to be with you. How on earth do you think this is going to work out for you? I don't understand. Oh, hey, yeah, I'll dox you and your family. Cool.
Which is against the law.
Congratulate. Yeah, tell me more about what you're going to do, because when we go to court, this will all be very convenient for me. Like, I just don't understand, like,
I'm sure that's why she's like, any other person that doesn't understand would probably be like scrambling to try to just settle with it and pay it. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad that she's actually trying to fight back on it, because she knows, like, I have proof to show that I wasn't leading this guy on. Exactly. And that this dude's threatening me, and he's like, now he's being fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And it's definitely going to go in my favor. It might not go in my favor right now, but it will.
Of course. Exactly. So I really do. I hope this works out for her, because that's just bullshit.
It's crazy. Like, and I'm sure that's part of the reason why Alicia doesn't really go public with any content she does. Like, all of her stuff is very niche towards like the community that she's already part of. Mm-hmm. She doesn't like to stream. Mostly because she doesn't like being on camera and stuff anyway. Even though I told her, like, if you streamed, you could do really good. You don't really have to do much. You just exist. People will watch you. Unlike me, where I gotta really try, and even still, when I really try,
it's because you're ugly as hell.
It's because I'm an ugly fat guy, and like it doesn't work out for my favor.
Can't read.
I'm an ugly fat guy who doesn't have a lot of money. I can't read, and my dick is just right. I guess it's perfect size.
That is like the worst thing to hear ever. It's the right size for me. Yeah, okay.
It's weird because when women don't understand why we don't like hearing that.
Oh, I've explained it before.
Well, the explanation is like, well, that means you've had a massive dick, and that mine is definitely not measured up to that.
Or what it also means too is that it's the perfect size for you. Okay, what does that really mean? It's like, well, you wouldn't chase after this, but it's not enough for you to leave. You know what I mean? It's not bad enough for you to be like, fuck, dude, I'm out of here. But like, see, it's never a good thing to hear. It's never a good thing.
That's like saying that, like, how do I look? You look all right.
It just doesn't make you look fat, but it doesn't make you look skinny either.
That's actually that is actually a good comparison. Like, well, what do you got? How do you guys feel when you're told that? It's like, well, okay, so imagine you get done up to go out one night, and then you ask your man, "How do I look?" And he says, "You look okay." How does that feel?
Yeah,
it doesn't. You doesn't feel good. I mean, you don't. That means he doesn't think you're hideous, but he doesn't think you're a fucking smoke show either.
Exactly. Awful.
It's the same feeling.
Horrible.
It's the same feeling. So, all right, man, let's wrap this up. I'm sure you got some other things to do.
I mean, not specifically, but
I'm glad we were able to record this. Unfortunately, this episode is not nearly as fucking a blast as the last one.
I'm upset.
Part of it is probably because we're both really kind of tired because we had an early day today.
Yeah, exactly.
And the early day didn't really pan out how we wanted it to.
I'm gonna 100% tell you though. You're very lucky I had the duty phone, because I slept through my alarm and that bitch woke me up, and I looked at the clock. I was like, okay, cool. I'm not going back to bed. I have to get ready.
Yeah, I mean,
we're very lucky.
You're lucky that I even woke up to my alarms, because I normally don't. And like, it was like, because alarms, anything before 9:30, I'm like, I just sleep through it.
Because your brain's like, it's the weekend. We're not getting up for anything.
Like, it's weird because like if I know I'm getting up for something,
yeah,
I'll get up just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like today, I woke up, took my meds, took a shower.
Even like during like work, like during the week for like work, there are some times where like I will wake up just before my alarm.
That's the worst, isn't it?
Well, I mean, like it's okay if it's within like a couple minutes, like 2 or 3 minutes. You're like, okay, I'm already up. Like whatever. The part that sucks is when you wake up. It's like 15, 20 minutes before you got to go to work.
You know, our dogs wake us up every day, a half hour to an hour before the alarm.
That's awful.
And it's just like, why?
Tell you what, though, the opposite of that effect though is amazing. It was like Tuesday last week. It was like midnight. It's like midnight.
You wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, I have hours left.
I woke up and I was ready to go. I felt like I'd been asleep for hours. Woke up. Okay, everything's feeling pretty good. I look at the clock. Midnight. Nice. Just we're going back.
But you know the worst part is you feel great when you wake up at midnight, then you go back to sleep. You feel like absolute shit. Like even though you got just 4 more hours, you're like, wow, cool. You go back to sleep, you wake up, you're like, oh God.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of times where like I've woken up early, like maybe like an hour earlier than my alarm.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, I feel pretty rested.
Yeah.
And then I decide, you know what, man, I mean, I got another hour left. So I lay back down.
Might as well use it for something. Let's get some sleep.
So and then I wake up again and I'm like, I feel like I haven't slept at all. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Why?
I don't understand that. And some people are like, oh, but there's your sleep cycles. I was like, I still doesn't understand. I rested for an extra hour longer. And I feel like total dog shit right now.
I feel worse than when I didn't get when I got less sleep. I feel worse now.
Exactly. And then some people are just like, oh, well, just try to get like one solid continuous sleep or try to, dial your sleep down or up a little bit more in terms of like how long you sleep. I try it and there are days, man, like I'm trying to get a sleep study done, but there are days, there's entire weeks where it's like, I feel like I haven't slept at all. I don't have the energy. And then I have that one day where it's like, I get good sleep. I wake up. I'm feeling ready for the fucking day, man. I am good to go. My body's running on full tempo. The engine's all the way up. You're set. And then you go back to bed the next day and you're like, cool, man, maybe tomorrow is going to be good. I wake up and it's dog shit again. And it's awful because like when you're just on your normal routine like that, like, oh, kind of woke up, not super rested, whatever. Let's keep going. It's okay because it's where your baseline's at. But when you have a good fucking day where you get you feel rested from your sleep and you go hit the day, then you come back to reality and then you have your normal sleep and it sucks.
Oh,
that first day hurts because it goes from, man, I'm ready to take on the day. We're good to go.
To dragging ass.
And I'm like, is that how I'm supposed to be? And this is just how I am every day.
My sleep study, they actually never called me about it to schedule. They said, do you want to take this in community care? I said, yes. All right, cool. They'll call you to set up an appointment.
They never did.
Here's the thing. Yeah, they said that, well, we can't see you at the VA until June. And by the way, this was like early April. And they made it to where they said, like, oh, we'll put you in community care so you can get an appointment sooner. I was like, okay. Here we are almost to June, and I still haven't gotten the call for my fucking sleep study. Fuck. And then I actually talked to my therapist Monday or Tuesday, and we discussed this, and she's like, yeah, your recommendation for a consultation is still open. They didn't call you? And I was like, no. And she's shaking her head. She's like, she is over the VA's bullshit, and she works there.
A lot of people are, though, because the part about it that does suck is that there are good people in there who work and bust their ass for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they get caught up in other bullshit because it's not, you can't do everything. Like you literally can't.
Right. Yeah.
So you could be like kicking in someone's door, like, what the fuck are you doing? But eventually you have to leave and go do your job again.
I know.
So it's like, you can't and it sucks seeing that. Is that you?
No, that's the floor. I think the pole's up. But yeah, it sucks.
That's what happens when you get old kids you don't know.
I don't know. Dude, I can't tell you how many times where I've heard something around my house and I've immediately just got up, got my gun. There's been times when Alicia was asleep and I wasn't yet, and I heard something what sounded like someone going through our cars because it's happened before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wake up and just fucking pull the fucking gun out, and I like kind of like sneak into the window, and I'm looking out the window and just peeking. All the lights are off. You can't see in the house, but I can see out. And I'm just standing at the sliding door looking around. Then I go to the windows and I look out. Maybe that's paranoia.
Maybe a little bit. What kind of gun you got?
I have a Smith & Wesson 1911. And then I have a Remington 12 gauge. And I got the Daniel Defense fucking 300 Blackout AR-15.
Oh, nice, nice. Where do you get your projectiles from?
Right now, I haven't really shopped for any. I used to get them from Gander.
Okay.
300 Blackout's tricky. You got to get them from Cabela's, which is all the way in Milwaukee.
Well, see, the thing is, I had to get most of my rounds from Cabela's because I have weird rounds like 7.65 by 53, 6.5 by 52, 7.31 by 51. So I have weird.
Dude, you have really specific fucking rounds.
Yeah. So these are all for like specific rifles. I also have like 16 gauge.
I will say, in a fucking oh shit scenario, like you are going to be hurting to find ammo.
I know, but the thing is, though, is that for my second Carcano that I have, the brass is a lot easier to get a hold of than projectiles for it. But the projectiles are a 300 diameter bullet, which means I can take 300 blackout rounds, not like the rounds, but I can take projectiles
and put them in the casings
and use those for the projectiles. So
I mean that works out.
So that's nice. Same thing too with
Do you know how much it costs for fucking 300 blackout ammo?
No, I don't.
2 boxes, $250.
Fuck.
And that was during the riots. I don't know what they are now.
But or it's like for my 6.5 by shit. So for for my 7.65, what I can do is there are 311 diameter projectile. So technically speaking, if I take a 7.62 but don't squeeze it down, if you take the projectiles out of the box, you can technically get away with that. And I think there's some other, I'm trying to think. There's another way. It's the 7.62 by 54 rounds. If you take those projectiles and you don't squeeze them like you would normally do for like reloading, then they should be able to fit your 311.
Have you ever seen my AR-15?
No. Is it that one over there?
Yeah.
Was it chambered in?
No. Huh?
What's it chambered in?
What do you mean?
What is it chambered in?
What is it chambered in?
Mm-hmm. Yes. What's the caliber?
300 blackout.
Okay. So I was asking.
I already told you this.
I understand, but you could have been talking about something else.
No, it's this thing right here. This is my 300 blackout. I bought it for my brother, so it's definitely not the build that I would do. So, okay. I mean, I got it from him. But yeah, I got a Magpul stock, Daniel Defense lower, Magpul grip. This weird little Magpul fucking, because it's all keyhold, right? So I have to put key rails on it, which is kind of a bitch. I need to get some keyed rails so I could throw a bunch of rails on this bitch, get some fucking flashlights and shit. But yeah, I got this nice little aim point too, which it needs new batteries because the aim point's dead. Oh, it's a crossfire. It's not an aim point. Although I honestly wouldn't use this fucking thing. I don't like this dot at all. It's tiny as fuck. I like bulky optics. I don't know why.
I use iron sights for almost everything.
I see this
because I have all old rifles.
This rifle has never been fired.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because my brother just wasn't around to fire it, and ammo for it is hard to find. So I told Alicia one of these weekends I'm going to take her to the range. We're going to take this fucking thing and just send it because it's never been fired. We're going to break her in.
I was going to say, if you don't want it on my way out, I'll probably try to buy it off of you.
No, I want it 100%. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
I don't know. Maybe you're upset by the ammo shortage. Me, however, that's just the reality I live in.
See, the thing is with the ammo shortage, what I could easily do is just change the entire upper.
True.
Because that's the beauty of AR platforms. You could change the upper. Mm-hmm. I could take this whole fucking upper off and put a 223 upper on it or a 556.
Don't put a 223 on it.
You can't get 556 you could, but it's hard.
Not really.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
That's the word I was trying to say.
Get like 6.5 Grendel.
But you know what I could do?
Talk about ammo shortage.
I could put a can on this fucker because 300 blackout is made to be put on made to be suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
So I could fucking put a can on this thing and make it a real killer. But I won't put it on Twitch.
No, I think
Too soon?
No,
For the record, I am not going to shoot anybody. This is only for fucking like recreational shooting and home defense.
No, I think,
or actually more like national defense, honestly.
Yeah, but I think the only the only thing that I have that's even close to being a modern gun technically is my 40 that I have. That's obviously modern, and I have an SKS. That was an unissued Yugoslavian model. So
Alicia's dad has an SKS,
so
but it's a Chinese model.
So that thing, she's still pretty, not beat up, and it's got a bayonet.
I dig that.
It also has, if I can get a hold of grenades, it has the grenade launcher attachment on it.
Oh, you mean like the barrel fired ones?
Yeah. Like if I can get the apparatus to attach the grenades and a fucking grenade with for the rifle, I actually have the apparatus on my rifle to where I can attach them on and shoot it.
That's nuts.
It's amazing.
It's technically considered an antique, so
yeah,
that's why you can get away with shit like that. With that, now if I put something like that,
as far as I know, for a lot of those older models like that, they're built in. It's not like something like, oh, like
that's something you added,
right? Take it off. Like no, like it's just part of the rifle. Like,
especially for that time, that's how they were made.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, it's like apart from, so my Carcano would have had a bayonet on it, the older one, the 1917, but the barrel was like had like modifications done to it by somebody, unfortunately, because those things, they weren't like, you didn't attach your barrel. I mean, you didn't attach your bayonet. Excuse me. Your bayonet would swivel.
Yeah, I was gonna say so it would swivel into the fucking.
It would click underneath the gun, and you could hold it just there, or it would like hold itself, obviously. Or if you needed to use your bayonet, you would just like pull it out, and it would click, and like you would like stamp it in a little bit, and then it would hold out in front of the barrel. So like it was part of the gun. You couldn't just detach that. I mean, you could, but you would damage the gun. So, but yeah, apart from that, I have like a Mosin. I have that 1898 Argentine.
You know, it's funny because M4s and M16s are still like, they still have the bayonet attachment on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though we don't use them anymore, they still have an option to put a bayonet on them.
Yeah.
Like that front sight down at the bottom has got that fucking little bayonet clip.
Well, it's something that's so easy to do in terms of like, manufacturing.
How many times in modern warfare has anyone had to fix bayonets?
I don't know.
Never.
It's just the idea. It's so easy to manufacture. It doesn't really add any cost to the gun. So it's like, why not put it on there? Especially if you can be useful, even in a niche time.
Like in a crazy situation when everyone's out of ammo. And then you just, can you imagine like being the Taliban and you just hear fixed bayonets? And then you're just like, and they're like, what does that mean? And it's just a bunch of fucking.
I haven't heard that one before.
And it's like, that's a new one. And then you just see a bunch of dudes charging a hill with fucking knives on the ends of their guns. And they're just like, what the fuck's going on? All right, let me get you out of here so you can go spend time with the lady.
Oh, yes.
Thanks for joining us in this one, guys. We will be back again next weekend for another one. Hopefully,
for real.
For real, for real. Hopefully some more news comes out by then. Otherwise, we're just going to be shooting from the fucking hip with that one.
Fun stuff.
All right, love you guys. Have a good one.
See ya.
Bye.